Rexrode, how are you? What's going on?
Tired like you, man.
Those Sunday night football games can be a problem when you wake up at 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah, now you had, of course, some serious, you had some stakes in that game. But I was about to turn away, and then I was like, okay, the Niners are coming back. And actually, I'm glad I didn't miss, what Aaron Rodgers did at the end.
He's pretty good.
He's pretty good. Tom Brady's the GOAT.
He is.
But I don't know, man. I don't know if I know of a quarterback who has done more ridiculous things on a football field, just throwing the football, than this guy. One ring, and that's how people judge you.
Yep.
But, boy, he's ridiculous.
Yeah, some of the throws he made last night were pretty incredible. Just conversation's a little different around him than it was after week one. Interesting to see. Things change in a hurry in this league.
Yeah, I mean, some things have maintained, like the Cardinals continue to be a surprise team. The Jaguars continue to be a hapless team. The Lions are very consistent with what they are. But yeah, there's also been some wild overreactions that have turned into fantasy since week one.
This has been largely just a phenomenal first 3 weeks of football. Like the first 3 weeks of the NFL this year, I think have been awesome. I mean, we've seen some great games, some good primetime games as well. I mean, this has been a pretty fun season. I don't know if it's just maybe this is just what we always see, and the fact that people are back in the stands highlights it a little bit more. But this has been awesome. Awesome football the first 3 weeks of the season.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I mean, I guess I can't remember a time when I was like, this football's been crappy, know. But I mean, here and there, certainly. And if you're forced, like if you live in a region of the country where like the Detroit Lions are forced onto your television, well, that's then it feels more like that. But I agree, it's been fantastic, and I think you're right. I think that is part of it. Is being home matters again this year. I mean, last year didn't matter at all, really.
Yeah.
Like even like the Titans have been a good road team, but like last year's road record, I'm like, okay, I mean, that's cool, but for the most part, they did it in front of no people or very few people. This year, you would get a road win in some of these places like that. Win at Seattle, that's like, wow. Yeah. You had to quiet down. You had to do silent count all day and dealt with that and got the win. So I do think that's part of it, but it has just been a lot of good games.
Speaking of the Lions, what a way to lose a game yesterday.
Amazing.
First off, the officials absolutely just totally blunder a delay of game call, and it was a full second that it was the delay of game that does not get called on Lamar Jackson. They get in, I guess, what we thought at the time could be field goal range with Justin Tucker. He takes a crow hop. He kicks the absolute leather off the ball, hits the bottom of the upright, and bounces through, baby. And the Lions go from looking at 1-2 right in the face to 0-3.
The Lions were almost first place as of yesterday.
They were.
If the Packers lose, the Lions is going to be a four-way tie for first and last at 1-2. Yes. And instead, it's like such a perfect picture of actually both of those franchises, the Lions and the Packers. The Packers find a way with a great player to get that win. The Lions also, with their owner, just booed, so you can't even hear the ceremony for Calvin Johnson. Just absolutely perfection, man, perfection. Before the delay game, Lamar Jackson had like a 4th and 19.
Oh yeah,
right?
Great pass.
A great pass. That actually somewhat reminiscent of Aaron Rodgers finding dropping into the zone there. Amazing stuff, man. Amazing. I think young Brennan, I mean, he's at the Titans game with his A.J. Brown jersey on, and then he kind of laughed about the Lions situation.
Really?
So I think we actually, we might be making
Could be some
progress
breakthroughs
here.
on that front.
It's about time, man. Just move on. Your life's better. Your life is automatically better.
That's right. Michelle Knezovic, fresh off a 6-0 weekend in Pigskin Pick'em.
What a weekend, guys.
She just continues to just roll it together.
7 points.
It's
a great day.
So she's 13-5.
Yeah.
Just look, just don't just leave for Vegas one day, okay? Stay with us.
I know
Stay with us.
It's fueling a fire. I feel like could be a little dangerous.
Yeah, those Kentucky Wildcats again didn't play all that great, but they end up covering.
They did. That was, that actually was that was a good game to pick.
Yeah,
because that's kind of a small, that's a small line for South Carolina.
South Carolina's not good.
Yeah, but that was still kind of a grinder. I don't know, man. Yeah. Meanwhile, 6-12 over here, 7-11 over there, 13-5 over there.
Yeah, but Robby's on a slow incline.
Yeah,
that's true.
I went from 0-6 to 3-3 to 4-2. Trending in the right direction.
That's true.
I could go
unlike
0-6 next week. Unlike
some.
Unlike Rexrode.
That's fine.
That's right. We'll have another edition of Pigskin Pick'em coming up on Friday this week. Looking
also
forward to that.
0-3 in fantasy. But I crushed Wyatt in the Titans Media League.
There you
I
go.
feel good about that.
All right.
Got a tiny little piece of good news. Yeah.
Right. I took down Brennan.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for doing that. That's really all that matters to me. Don't lose to him. Finish ahead of him.
There you go.
So
he's 1-2 now.
Thank you for doing that. Yes.
No problem. All right, so let's get into the Titans yesterday. A 25-16 win for the Titans at Nissan Stadium in a game where Carson Wentz did play. We'll get a little bit more into that coming up here in just a few minutes. Joe, my initial reaction to the game yesterday, I didn't think the Titans really played all that well. I mean, defensively, certainly looked good. Offensively, moving the ball really wasn't much of a problem for them, but when you have 3 turnovers and you lose the turnover battle as a -3, it's difficult to win games like that in the NFL. And yet the Titans, given what was happening on the other sideline with the quarterback situation and just some big plays that they did make coming down the stretch, they're able to get it done 25-16. It was not overly pretty, but you'll take a win against the Colts anytime you can get it if you're the Titans. And now here they sit 2-1.
Well, I mean, they really dominated the game.
They did.
You make those mistakes and usually you lose. Instead, they had a 3-zip turnover margin and won by multiple scores. I mean, that's a game you pretty much controlled. My main takeaway, I think I'll save some of this for 7:45, but the Titans have the better quarterback. Ryan Tannehill's numbers yesterday are not going to impress anybody, but the bottom line is you look at all the plays he made. And at key moments, 3rd down to Pruitt, 3rd and goal to Rodgers, 3rd and goal to McNichols, and the run, running the football too, with just a absolute ragtag bunch around him for various reasons.
Yeah.
With a team that, by the way, has got some serious injury concerns that are really starting to pile up already. I mean, he's the difference. That's why the Colts have dominated the Titans. That's why the Titans are right now better than the Colts. And I think Carson Wentz is a pretty good player, and he's probably, he's better than that. And I think I actually think they're gonna get back into things. I think the Colts will. But that's a pretty, to me, impressive win amid all the issues. Now you can't keep doing it. So like last week, huge win at Seattle. Can't keep giving up those big plays on defense. Well, they cleaned that up. I mean, I don't think Carson Wentz really even looked. I don't know how much he could have pushed the ball downfield.
I don't either.
There were times he threw the ball. I thought he had good velocity on it, but other times you could tell it was like, man, he's trying to throw while just planting and not stepping into it. So this week now it's like, okay, the turnover thing. I mean, they're 7-1 right now for this team. A 2-1 team with a -6 turnover. That's probably not going to continue. Like if that's the trend, usually that's a bad team sign.
Yep.
And the good teams have a big plus, or at least are around even, right? But there's other things that they're doing really well. So, I thought the defense did a pretty good job for the most part, and Ola Adeniyi getting after the quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean, Bud Dupree over there not able to play. There's some worrisome things going on, but overall, man, I thought it was a good win. It's always a good win against the Colts.
I did think we learned one thing yesterday about Ryan Tannehill, and if you're ever wondering if he's going to slide when he runs the ball, the answer is no. It's just not going to happen. We're not going to see Ryan Tannehill slide.
Yeah, and that's got to change. Now, he does slide some, right? I was thinking about this yesterday. Not much, but I definitely have seen him slide.
I mean, he slid before, yes, but it's not very often.
It's way too. Like
he had 5 carries for 56 yards yesterday. At one point, it was 3 for 56, and then he had a couple kneel downs. So, obviously it was effective, him running the ball, but there was a couple times where I was just like, dude, get out. If you get hurt, this season is over. Just get down.
Like, great decision not to slide on the last run because he somehow kind of vaulted himself and stayed in bounds on that play. That was a huge play. And that was 2nd and 11 from the 30. He takes off, gets it to the 17, gets the first down. Now the Colts have to start taking timeouts, and eventually Randy Bullock, kicker for another week. I mean,
it's looking good, man.
Hey, hit the extra points. What, he hit 2 extra points because they went for 2 once, and then he hit the chip shot field goal, but, do the job. But that's a great decision, to go forward instead of slide because you get the first down and all that stuff, you stay in bounds. But, yeah, the earlier 2 runs, like that 28-yarder, I mean, he's out, like, head hunting a safety. Like he's putting a hit on the safety.
Yes.
And it's like, nah, I don't know if you want to do that. It gets a team fired up, gets fans fired up, but you don't want to be in the position the Colts are in.
Vrabel hates it because we've heard him mic'd up before, talk to Tannehill about getting down, and then Tannehill at the press conference yesterday said, yeah, I got some words from Vrabel, and I'll probably get a few more tomorrow from Vrabel when he sees it on the film. So, I get it. It's one of those things that in the moment, Tannehill's trying to get as many yards as he can, and you love that about Ryan Tannehill. But slide, dude. You've got to find a way to slide.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, exactly. He's got to it's just talk about someone who, again, Derrick Henry, best player on the team. Derrick Henry is had another great day to me. Like, never got free, but he was awfully tough and awfully effective. But like you could go for a couple weeks and give the ball to Mekhi Sargent and Jeremy, and you might be fine. Yeah, you can't lose Ryan Tannehill.
No.
So, but again, to me, that's what the story of the game was, and in the context of the history, because we got Ryan Porth freaking out and all these. And I mean, I saw it on Twitter. It's just like, oh, here we go again. Yep, Colts gonna win. It's like, what's the common denominator of this? Most of these wins for the Colts, it's a massive advantage at quarterback.
And that does not exist for the Colts anymore now with the present state of Ryan Tannehill and Carson Wentz, whether he's healthy or not. And Carson Wentz obviously was not healthy yesterday. Did the Colts make the right decision to put Carson Wentz in that game? Joe Rexrode and I will discuss that next. We'll take your thoughts as well on our text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. This is Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 1025 The Game.
Hang out with us every weekday starting at 6 a.m. with Robby and Rexrode.
Limping off the field. I can confirm he was limping off the field.
Darren, Donick, and Chase from 10 to 2.
Wouldn't say it deserves a gold star.
We want people to play along.
This is what's crazy.
And Stillman and Company from 2 to 6.
I want to go last. Can I go last? Sure.
Watch live on Periscope, Twitch, and YouTube. Tune in anytime on the Game Nashville app or your home speaker. This is Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game.
Dan Abrams and his live PD sidekick Styx return in a new program, Dan Abrams Live. Premieres tonight, September 27th at 8/7 Central on News Nation.
Bob's Steak and Chop House is a renowned award-winning steakhouse in major cities across the U.S. Nashville is lucky to have a location here in downtown at the Omni Nashville Hotel. Fine dining is brought to a new level at Bob's with awards like the Wine Spectator Award 4 years in a row, TripAdvisor Certificate of Excellence 5 years in a row, and Open Tables Diner's Choice Award 6 years in a row. Fine dining at its best. Bob's Steak and Chop House, open Wednesday through Saturday, 5 to 10 p.m. in the Omni Nashville Hotel. Complimentary valet parking is always available.
More machines, more savings, and more muscle. Only with John Deere construction equipment from Meade Tractor. Hit the heavy jobs harder with our Own It offer and get special financing on select models. New, used, or rent, we have the right equipment and technology solution for you with the affordable financing you need. Contact us today at our Nashville location or go online at meadtractor.com.
Offer valid on qualified purchases and new equipment made between now through October 31st, 2021. Subject to approved installment credit with John Deere Financial for commercial use. Only down payment may be required. Some restrictions apply. See store for details.
I sing country music. I call myself true modern country.
Let's run away. Grayson Michael is a rising star in country music. He also just got engaged with help from Genesis Diamonds.
I got a ring twice as big as I thought I was going to be able to get.
Grayson shopped other stores, but nobody could beat Genesis.
The value was insane comparatively to what I looked at other local jewelers. There was just absolutely no comparison.
But beyond the price, Grayson just loved the experience at Genesis. The relaxed feel, the education.
Not pushy at all, which I really liked. You know, most of us guys, we don't really know a lot about diamonds. They help educate you so you can decide what's important to you and what's best for your purchase.
He ended up with a spectacular Henry Dawsey designer ring that his fiance loves to show off.
When people compliment her ring, I always say thank you.
Genesis Diamonds.
It's just unmatched. The price, the quality, and the service.
Where Nashville gets engaged.
Genesis Diamonds is the only place you want to go for your diamond purchase. They'll take care of you, and you'll take care of your lady.
Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Here comes the money.
The sports betting craze continues to thrive.
We both like the 4-1 odds. We both like the over.
And we've got you covered every Friday at 6 with the money line.
Take the over. The over is 2.5.
Hosted by Ryan Forth and Chase McCabe.
I'd go over. You go over. I'd go over.
Here comes the money.
On Nashville's best sports talk,
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Contest rules for 102.5 The Game and ESPN 94.9, including on-air, online, and text-based contests, are available by visiting the contest rules page at thegamenashville.com. Good luck and thanks for listening to 102.5 The Game and ESPN 94.9.
If you've missed any of today's show, just search Robby and Rexrode on Apple, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform.
Yeah, I mean, it affected play calling a little bit, but, you know, not an excuse. I mean, I thought Carson did a good job understanding what his limitations were and playing within that. You know, he's our quarterback, and, you know, we felt like him at whatever 70 or 80%, whatever he is, you know, is our best option to, you know, to beat a very good football team on the road. And, you know, I mean, we make a couple more plays, and, you know, we make a couple more plays in that game, and I think they're there. I mean, I think they're there to be made, you know, by us, by all of us, coaches, players. I think there's plenty of opportunities in this game, in a closely contested game, you know, to win that game.
That was Colts head coach Frank Reich after the game yesterday. The Colts lose 25-16 to the Titans. They fall to 0-3 on the season, and responding to a question about the decision to put Carson Wentz out there yesterday. And, Joe, I'll be honest, and we talked about this last week. As you heard Frank Reich say there, 65%, 70%, 80% Carson Wentz, probably still the best option at quarterback for the Colts when you look at, obviously, Jacob Eason and Brett Hundley as well, who looked like he was going to be the starter if Carson Wentz couldn't play. But I will say, I mean, you watched Carson Wentz warm up yesterday trying to get loose for the game, and it was pretty clear that he was going to be basically immobile in that pocket. I mean, it was not very good watching him warm up. And then you watch him play and you drop back, and he was just a sitting duck in that pocket. So based on what you saw from Carson Wentz, the performance being one thing, but just his health and his lack of ability to move out there, do you think Frank Reich made the right call yesterday putting him in at quarterback?
Yeah. I mean, it's the alternative is Hundley or Eason. I mean, and this is the problem with the NFL. It's a problem with not having enough people who can do that job well. There aren't many. It's why, you know, if you're looking at your team and like, gosh, you know, this team should have a better backup quarterback. Why don't they have a better backup quarterback? Go around the league and find me the teams that are like feeling good about number 2. You know, the Raiders probably were. Who else? Who else feels good about their backup quarterback in the NFL? I mean, I guess like, you know, like the Bears have a nice one in Andy Dalton and Nick. Like they have an amazing array of number 2 quarterbacks right now.
Yeah.
You know,
I think they have 3 number 2 quarterbacks
right.
at the moment.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's like to me, what Carson Wentz was yesterday, which is definitely not close to what he normally is, was still better than, like Hundley, Eason could have run around, made some more plays. You could have called some different things with them, but I think Wentz threw it okay, made some plays, and you're right, he was a sitting duck. I thought the Titans, it makes it kind of easy on you when all of a sudden you go from 2 weeks of, okay, this rule, that rule, stay in your lane, don't, to go.
Yeah.
Just go. Get there. I thought the Titans, although they only ended up with 2 sacks, I thought that they did a nice job of pressuring. But I would have done the same thing. The whole question, if he got hurt again, if he got out of the pocket and tweaked it again, and now you're looking at a few more weeks without him or something, okay,
right.
Then I think it's ripe for second guessing. But I'd stick with him. I'd stick with them this week because they have to go beat Miami. I think this is a team that absolutely could be the 7th team since 1980 to make the playoffs after an 0-3 start, but 0-4 isn't a good option. And Miami almost pulled off the shocker against the Raiders when they were down big, but that's a game that the Colts should go win.
Could be the Jacoby Brissett revenge tour. We'll see what happens on that front.
It should be, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's an example, by the way. There's a team that that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Jacoby Brissett's your number 2. Okay. So there's a handful of teams that have a number 2 that they're like, all right, we feel like we could possibly go win a football game.
I actually thought that Frank Reich, for the most part yesterday, given the situation, called a pretty good game for the Colts offensively. The Titans got hit with the screen pass 8 times yesterday in that game, and it seemed to be pretty effective for the Colts. Look, it's a good defensive performance for the Titans. You hold the team to 16 in today's NFL, and I think you'll take that every week at this point. But I did think, given what it was at quarterback yesterday and how limited Carson Wentz was, I thought Frank Reich did a pretty nice job for the most part.
Yeah, I agree. The screens hit the pressure a couple times real well.
And Naheem Hines is a problem coming out of the backfield for the Titans.
Well, but that's where I would second-guess Frank Reich and the Colts in general. Don't you want to give him the ball more?
Yeah.
But the Colts end up 3 for 12 on 3rd down, so the Titans are working on those numbers, man.
Buddy.
Getting those numbers better.
Well, and to the Titans' credit, they did what you could not allow the Colts to do yesterday, was just run the ball down your throat. And Jonathan Taylor, he had 123-yarder in there. Other than that, they did a pretty good job against the run. The Indy finishes 18 carries, 87 yards. They didn't run the ball all that much in the game, and the screen game was basically an extension of the running game. But for the most part, I thought the Titans did a pretty good job of not just letting the offensive line of the Colts and the running game just totally take over in that game.
Yeah, they did. He had room on some other play. He's still you take away the 23-yarder, and he's still about 9 for 41 or whatever.
Yep.
That's pretty good, but he only gets 10 carries. The Titans again with a massive advantage, not as big as last week, but a big advantage in possession time. Possession time, it matters. It matters to some teams.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter to every team. People who have tried to say new football, it's a passing league. No, possession time still matters, especially if you're the Titans. That's what you like to do. They had that drive in the 4th quarter for the field goal that took the whole 4th quarter. And that's really the difference in the possession time. That keeps their play. Who knows with their defense, they had a 65-57 edge in total plays. But, with their defense, maybe the Colts running game does start to really assert itself if they have the ball, in the 4th quarter. But the Titans kind of kept them at arm's length. I thought David Long was really good yesterday.
He was.
He's a guy that you want on the field, And I tell you what, when Jayon Brown comes back, I don't know if it can work. And Rashaan Evans, by the way, he made some plays yesterday too. But when Jayon Brown comes back, is it possible that a Jayon Brown, David Long combination could get some time together? I'm not sure about that, but I think it's possible. Also yesterday, when you talk about play calling with the Colts, if Christian Fulton goes down, another big concern for the Titans, by the way, because he's been really good. consistently really good. Breon Borders comes in, and they do exactly what you should do. You're like, okay, 39. We're throwing at 39. And so they send Zach Pascal on a crossing pattern. It's man coverage. Borders gets his hand on the ball.
Yep.
Saw it coming. It makes a play, and then then 2 plays later they do the same thing. They're going at Borders. They're running a little route combo to go to the corner of the end zone, and he may have interfered. It was close. He was face guarding. But, the ball was that was one of those, like, Carson Wentz kind of duck throws where you're like, see, there's where his physical state affects him.
Let's go to our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. Joe from Maryland texting in. This is a stretch, but I was wondering if the Colts were going to be better yesterday with a backup QB because they could have gone heavy to Taylor and Hines in the screen game, which they were very efficient with, but they decided not to do it enough. Yards per carry was high, and Hines always kills us. And I will say, look, Nyheim Hines is a good player, but man, he gives the Titans problems. He was good coming out of the backfield again yesterday. He's a really good player.
Yeah. No, again, I'd try to give him the ball more. In general, that game, and I think in a lot of games, it's tough because Jonathan Taylor is an excellent back. But what is Hines? I mean, I guess Hines does end up getting 11 touches. 6 for 25 carries, 5 catches, 54 yards. He had the big 36-yarder down the sideline.
Yep.
Hey, he's a weapon. With the screen game, they definitely hit him a few times, but they also, like the Titans had it absolutely. I mean, the Titans knew it was coming. It's just a matter of, are you hitting the pressure? And they did a couple times. They got him in blitzes, and they had him outflanked. The Titans also mucked up quite a few screens yesterday, so it's not like you can just go screen game all day. At some point, it's like, okay, well, we'll play it this way and handle it.
Yeah, and look, again, 16 points allowed. You'll take that every week if you're this Titans defense, and getting off the field on third down more frequently, definitely a good sign as they move forward here. We're off and running. We'll continue to take your thoughts on the Titans and the Colts from yesterday on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. What did we learn about the Titans in their performance in a big win at home yesterday? We'll get to that coming up next. This is Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Great tasting Ensure Max Protein with 30 grams of protein, 1 gram of sugar, and nutrients to support immune health. Those who tried Ensure Max Protein reported feeling more energy in just 2 weeks. For consumer survey details, visit Ensure.com.
Hey Nashville, it's Jared, and there's a new go-to for home furnishing.
The summer clearance sale at Social Furniture, where all furniture is reduced in every department. Designer sofas from $5.99 and leather sofas from $7.99. Queen bedroom sets with queen bed, dresser, and mirror from $11.99. They come in solid, cherry, oak, and gray. Casual 5-piece dining room sets starting at $3.99, and formal dining sets starting at $5.99. Sealy, Stearns & Foster, Simmons, Serta, and Purple Mattress, all sizes on sale.
Social Furniture on the west side is independently home-owned furniture store in Nashville. Forget the big box stores. Shop local, shop social. They have all the best brand mattresses, sofas, recliners, love seats, sectionals, coffee tables, and more with no waiting. They will deliver it the same day. That's with everything at Social Furniture. Enjoy new furniture now with no waiting. Shop local, shop social. 5412 Charlotte Avenue near White Bridge Road, and tell them Jared Stillman sent you. Hey, it's Jared from my friends at Hiller. There's no better time to upgrade your essential home systems than this month with Hiller. They're offering credits for your old home systems. Trade in your old HVAC unit and earn up to $1,500 in credits towards a select new system. Upgrade from a standard water heater to a tankless water heater and earn up to $500 with your trade. Trade up to a new electrical panel and earn up to $500 in credits for your old one. Their work is backed by the Happy You'll Be or Services Free guarantee. Their technicians are continuing to take measures to keep you and your family safe and healthy on every single call. Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical, proud sponsors of the Nashville Predators, Vanderbilt, and the Tennessee Volunteers.
Football is here, Titans fans. With 5 locations in Middle Tennessee, it's easy to find the perfect corner pub to meet up with friends and family to cheer on your favorite team. Head downtown to watch your Titans play on the 50-foot LED screen, or brunch it up this Sunday in Brentwood, where 102.5 The Game will be live on location with Jared and friends. Stop into any location for game day food and drink specials. Corner Pub, your local family-friendly sports bar, located in Brentwood, downtown Nashville, Bellevue, Cool Springs, and Franklin. The neighborhood meets at the corner.
Willie Donick here for Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. Fall is here, and that means the cold winds of winter are coming. It's a great time to replace those old, drafty windows. Pella is the leader in the industry for top-quality window and door products. But Pella windows and doors are also affordable, extremely affordable. Pella has payment plans less than $95 a month to replace your windows. So, I suggest you purchase your windows and doors from the experts at Pella of Nashville. Go to PellaofNashville.com.
The 102.5 The Game text line is driven by Wilson County Hyundai. Online at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. Be a part of the conversation. Call or text the game at 615-737-1025.
Tonight.
Touchdown! Devontae Smith, first NFL catch is a score.
It's our NFL Game of the Week, brought to you by Red Spirits and Wine in Bellevue, as the Philadelphia Eagles visit the Dallas Cowboys. Coverage begins at 7
on ESPN
94.9.
Hey Nashville, this is Mookie Betts. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Gonna get all over you.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5 The Game, brought to you by Volunteer State Bank, conveniently serving Middle Tennessee with 13 locations. Member FDIC, equal housing lender, streaming live as well on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube today and every day. Our video streaming brought to you by the law offices of Amanda Gentry. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Michelle Knezovic here with you on this Monday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. Speaking of the Tennessee Oilers, good stuff yesterday from the Titans to honor the Houston Oilers and just all the guys they had in over the weekend. Warren Moon was in over the weekend as well. So obviously honoring Bum Phillips yesterday. Some cool stuff from Amy Adams Strunk and the Titans.
Yeah, and the coolest thing to me was, I wrote the story about Bum Phillips last week, but I got Billy White Shoes Johnson on the phone. And, seriously, as a very young child, and I mean very young, I got into football because of his end zone dances. I'm pretty sure that's the first thing I liked about football was that Billy White Shoes Johnson did the funky chick in the end zone. I just wanted to see him score a touchdown so I could see him do it again.
Yes.
So it was cool to meet him, talk to him, and also to see him do that. And to see Julio Jones do it too on Friday was interesting. But that was awesome. I thought they did a nice job with the ceremony. Wade Phillips it was a good touch by him. He sort of used his dad's famous quote from when the Oilers were so close to beating the Steelers and tied it to the Titans, kicking the bleep in terms of the Titans trying to make a run. But, it worked out well. I mean, I don't know how much into it were Titans fans. I don't know. But I'll tell you what, it's very interesting when you think about the Lions yesterday and, their owner going on the field and just not even to honor one of the great players in franchise history where you can't hear yourself think you're getting booed so much.
Yeah.
Amy Adams Strunk got a really, when the team owner gets cheered by most of the stadium, that's not that.
It's not common. No.
So
it's a good spot to be in if you're Amy Adams Strunk.
Yeah.
Good stuff from the Titans over the weekend, including the media picture that you took yesterday of the media picture being taken of the media members that have covered the Titans for 25 years.
Yeah,
good stuff.
I was like, I'm going to scoop Kim Smith on this tweet. So I took the picture of her taking the picture of all
Nicely done.
And then, of course, and I tweeted, and this is totally by design, I tweeted, here's the press corps led, of course, by Teresa Walker.
Sure.
And so what happens in the press box? As soon as Kaharski sees the tweet, wait, led by Teresa Walker, what? And I'm like, that's exactly why I did it, because I knew you would say that. So cry about it.
Well, she is the leader.
Well, I know, but Kaharski just can't, it's got to be Kaharski. It's got to be about him.
Let's go back to the text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Tyler from Berry Hill texting in. Is Josh Reynolds still hurt, or is he just not good enough to be on the field?
Yeah, that's a great question. Look, technically he's a healthy scratch.
Yep.
Now, I asked, I think it was last week, about Reynolds. And, Vrabel, there's a lot of answers about receivers and blocking. And there's a lot of storylines around receivers and blocking with the Tennessee Titans, as you may have noticed.
Yeah, there is.
Which is perfect for you because you're a huge blocking receiver guy. And, the answer was sort of to that effect a little bit, away from the ball. You got to be able to do all the things you do in the offense. And look, I look at Josh Reynolds, and he's like me at 11 years old. He is skin and bones, He is very skinny. Of course, the Titans signed him, so, like they paid him. So, like, they knew what his physical profile was. That's just the only thing I can think of other than what I think it probably is, which is, again, you've had quote-unquote Achilles stuff. You've had these things that have limited you. You've been banged up a lot since the spring, and you're still not totally healthy.
Yep.
But, again, he's not on the injury report last week. He participated in practice. So is he just limited because of that? Like he just isn't his old self? I don't know. I don't know the answer, but it's a very good question, and it's surprising. Again, you look out there yesterday. I mean, Nick Westbrook-Ikhine is basically wide receiver 1 yesterday.
Yeah, he was.
For most of the day, And look, he did a good job other than the fumble. But that's a game where you're like, gosh, you feel like Josh Reynolds might have been able to help in that game, especially if Julio Jones is just going to, get the fourth quarter off.
Yeah, just sit on the sideline. We'll get a little bit more into that coming up here in just a few minutes. But a very strange ending to the game yesterday for Julio Jones. Keith from Bowling Green on the text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. What's the status of the rookie from Pittsburgh? And referring to Rashad Weaver on that play. And Paul Kaharski.
Speaking of Kaharski.
Reporting yesterday that Rashad Weaver broke his right fibula against the Colts.
I don't know this for sure, but Vrabel came into the press conference and someone was telling him something, and he said, wait, what? And then they closed the door, and they told him whatever they told him, and it was Stretch, John Stryker, who told him the information. He was always kind of with them and telling them what's going on.
Yep.
Vrabel came in and was mad, and I think he said as he walked to the podium, "This is gonna be like 7 minutes." Like he was like, "Get these stupid questions out of here. Get me the hell out of here." That's what the press conference was. He leaves the press conference. He slams the door into the wall. So again, and I tweeted that he did that, and then people are like, "Whatever,
Yeah.
Because the Titans were mistake prone, or because like looking at Kaharski's face, or whatever. Like people just go. I'm quite sure it was some kind of information he got. Now, what you hope if you're a Titans fan is it wasn't information on someone else. Like
right.
they're waiting to find out, like, how is Fulton,
yeah.
for example. I'm trying to think of who else right now would be sort of in question. Dupree just couldn't go. Fulton, AJ it was clearly a hamstring. You could see it on the deep ball, so I don't think that's, some of these things you have to have tests. So he's done for the year. And that's a big loss. Just because, look at the attrition. Look at the injuries already. You've got your high-price free agent signing on the outside who can't go in a huge game, unable to go, coming off an ACL. Roberson has been hurt. There's a guy that they need to get back in there. Ola Adeniyi has been a revelation. What if they didn't have him?
Yeah.
And you got, Harold Landry playing every snap as always, and durable and, solid player, but that's not good. Rashad Weaver was on his way to an increasing role. I think he can be a good player in this league, and that's a big loss. Do not overlook that loss.
Let's go back to the text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Luke texting in. I think it's a good thing that we've been able to win the last two, but we still have not looked great doing it. We have just looked bad at times. And how worried should we be about AJ? This coming from Luke from Summertown.
Well, first of all, as far as it look bad at times and everything, yeah, it's not all come together, but I feel like
look, it's the NFL, man. You take the wins when you get them.
Other teams have a way of making you look bad. First of all, that's how the league is. Everybody's really good. Even the crappy Lions should have had the Ravens beat yesterday.
Yeah.
There aren't gimmies. The Jags. Granted, they had a kick 6 of 109 yards, but
yes, they did.
They're pushing the Cardinals. You're not going to look great. It's not going to be like you got to stop turning it over. That's the thing. You got to stop giving up big plays, which was last week's problem. You got to stop turning it over, which is this week's problem. Overall, I think you should be pretty happy with your team if you're a Titans fan, in my opinion. As far as A.J. Brown, it's a good question. You know how it is with hamstrings.
Yep.
It's like you as soon as you do that, Now it's like, okay, it's feeling okay. I'm going to give it a go. And then you pop.
Yeah.
You gotta give it serious time. So I wouldn't look for him this week for sure.
Yeah, like if I'm the Titans, and look, I don't know how severe the injury is, but if there is any chance that it's still aggravated on Sunday, I'm not playing A.J. Brown against the Jets. And it's the NFL. The Jets can beat you, absolutely. But you can't have this hamstring linger and be an issue all season long if you're the Titans. They need to make sure that he is 100% right before they put him back out there, at least in my opinion.
No, 100%. I mean, speaking of the Jets, Corey Davis is basically the number one thing that Titans have to worry about this week.
Yeah.
We've seen a hamstring plague him for an entire season. Last year, you saw Darrington Evans be a non-factor because of a hamstring. So, I mean, this week I would just – it's not like you can just say, hey, let's sit everybody and we'll go beat the Jets. It'll be just fine. But I think you just have to, in your mind, think, okay, treatment and all that stuff this week, and then just see how it goes. Some people, it is very short term. Sometimes a hamstring can be like a week for someone, and it's fine. But sometimes it seems fine, and then you have that one, like he did yesterday. That's what he pulled up on a deep pass, and then it comes back again. So it's a concern.
Let's go back to the text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Kenston, our buddy, texting in. We learned this team has the defense to lean on. This is a game we likely lose last year. He gave them 10 points off turnovers and held them to 1 of 3 in the red zone and 3 of 12 on third down. The defense led the way and made for a great team win. This coming from Kenston.
See, now Kenston is much more optimistic than the previous texter. And I tend to agree more with that. The defense was put in some really bad spots, and it's so much. This league is so much just about the red zone.
Yep.
And the Titans got back to executing the red zone. They're 3 for 5. Make it again. Tannehill. It's Chester Rogers. It's Jeremy McNichols. It looks like simple plays, but you got to make that decision right now and get the ball there right now. And he did both times, and he gets touchdowns instead of field goals in the red zone. And the Titans defense made some big time. Again, I mentioned Borders earlier. There are other guys, Long, Adeni, making big time plays in the red zone to keep them out of that and force them to kick field goals. 3 for 4 for the Colts on the field goals, making them kick 4. That's big. That's the game.
Rodrigo. Saw some. I went out to eat last night around the Opry Mills area. Saw some Colts fans out there with some Rodrigo Blankenship shirts on. A lot of love.
Like jerseys?
No, like shirts of his glasses. And
okay.
It was pretty awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I was going to say, if someone's got a Rodrigo Blankenship jersey.
That's some investment.
And it's not his family. It's
good stuff.
Fans loved him last year when I lived in Indy.
Oh, yeah.
What's not to love? Love the goggles.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He's automatically a cult hero just because of those.
Yes. ESPN 94.9 is the official English radio home of the Nashville Soccer Club. Listen in this Wednesday as Nashville SC takes on Orlando at Nissan Stadium. Pregame starts at 7:15 and the match begins at 7:30. We'll continue the discussion on the Titans. We've talked a lot about players the Titans lost yesterday, and we'll continue that conversation throughout the show. But there was one that they got back yesterday that responded in a big way and had some very, very interesting comments after the game as well. All that next. This is Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5 The Game.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. Lots of sunshine out there, and that will not change for the rest of the day. High temperatures this afternoon, heading up to 84 degrees. Going to be a little more humid, though, midweek.
This week in Vanderbilt history, October 4th, 2008. On a Saturday that saw the first ever visit by ESPN's College Game Day to the Vanderbilt campus, It also featured a matchup of ranked teams at the stadium, as the 19th-ranked Commodores played host to the number 13 Auburn Tigers. And Vandy didn't disappoint a raucous home crowd either, holding on for a 14-13 win. Backup quarterback Mackenzie Adams came off the sideline to throw for 153 yards and a pair of touchdowns to Justin Wheeler in the second quarter and Brandon Barton in the third. And turns out a missed extra point by Auburn early in the game made the difference. The Vandy defense of coordinator Bruce Fowler was excellent, with 5 sacks by as many players, adding to their SEC lead. 2 of the takedowns inside the final 4 minutes, and a big interception by Myron Lewis wrapped it up. The win was Vanderbilt's first against Auburn since the 1955 Gator Bowl, ending a 13-game losing streak against the Tigers. Vanderbilt 14, Auburn 13, October 4th, 2008. That's This Week in Vanderbilt History. I'm Kevin Ingram.
There are jewelry stores, and then there's Genesis Diamonds, the cutting-edge industry leader, the pioneer. It's no secret that jewelry stores across America watch what Genesis is doing. Genesis was the first to offer a free lifetime warranty, the first to offer a 110% diamond upgrade guarantee, the first to offer aggressive long-term zero-interest financing. And Genesis is always on the cutting edge in design and fashion. The styles other jewelers say are new and exciting were new and exciting for us 4 years ago. Genesis has the fashion-forward brands other stores aren't even allowed to carry. It's no wonder you see jewelers from other cities coming to Genesis to see what we're all about, and even buy their wives' jewelry from us. For selection, quality, service, warranties, and guarantees, Genesis leads. Others follow. So for diamonds, engagement rings, exclusive designer jewelry for any occasion, don't compromise. Come to the jeweler that sets the industry standards year after year. Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Lift it, load it, grade it, grind it, move it, haul it, rig it, dig it, Craneworks, Reynolds, yeah! The big dog's got it.
Craneworks is ready to help lift Nashville. As the Southeast's most trusted name in crane and equipment rental for over 30 years, Craneworks offers certified operators to make sure the job is done right. Rentalworks has a diverse fleet of equipment to assist in any project, big or small. From forklifts to carry deck cranes, they have it all. When it's time for your next lift, machinery moving, or rigging project, call Craneworks. Visit craneworks.com.
Darren McFarland and a mulligan that we all look for in golf. Lord knows our game could use it. Willie Donick outworked and outperformed a lot of other really good players. Chase McCabe. I want some sort of trade protection. Darren, Donick, and Chase have you covered weekdays from 10 to 2. Presented by Curacion CBD on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
This is Robby and Rexrode on ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Support Stars on Saturday, October the 16th by running, walking, or boogieing in the Nashville Striders 21st Annual Shelby Bottoms Boogie 15K and 5K Run Walk at Shelby Bottoms Park. This event is perfect for the avid runner as well as the casual jogger, or you can show your support and participate virtually. For more information, visit starsnashville.org. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5 The Game, presented by Volunteer State Bank. Now with 2 locations in Murfreesboro. Visit their brand new Murfreesboro location at 2019 Memorial Boulevard. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Can I do one quick thing on Twitter here?
Go ahead.
So Father Joseph Krupp at Joe in Black. He was our priest in Michigan. He baptized my daughter. He baptized Caroline. And he's actually a great Twitter follow. I actually highly recommend to follow at Joe in Black. Just real quick, I'm just reading this tweet. He just sent it. I just love that ESPN and the rest of the national sports media are finally paying attention to Matt Stafford. He's a good man who gave Lions fans joy for so long. I'm praying the at Rams NFL win the whole thing because he's on their team. It's the only joy Lions fans will ever have.
Well, it could be.
Thank you, Father Joe. I think you're dead on, Father Joe.
It's a perfect close to that tweet there. Nicely done, Father Joe.
Father Joe baptized Caroline, and then we're like, hey, you want to come? We're like going to lunch with family, and he's like, yeah, I got some fishing and a whole bunch of Coors Light waiting for me up the lake. I'm like, all right, Father Joe.
All right.
That's cool, man.
Okay, man.
You're the best, Father
You have
Joe.
fun. Thank you, Father Joe. I'll tell you what, Matt Stafford looked pretty good yesterday.
He did. Matt Stafford looked pretty good.
When I come out with
Rams
my,
looked pretty good. They smoked the Bucks.
I did. When I come out with my NFL power rankings tomorrow, spoiler alert, the LA Rams are going to be number 1.
Okay. I think that's fair.
He's the only one keeping my fantasy team alive.
Yeah. Stafford's been pretty good.
And where will the 3-0 Denver Broncos be in your power rankings? They're 3-0, man.
I know. I need to check I can't remember I even had them in the top 15 last week. I'm not sure that'll change if I didn't. I mean, look, they've beaten the Jags, the Jets, and the Giants.
Their schedule is the opposite of the Colts right now.
Their teams are
0-9.
0-9.
Like if the Colts had their schedule, the Colts would be 3-0.
Yes.
And if the Broncos had their schedule, they'd be 0-3.
Correct.
Flat out.
Look, Teddy Bridgewater's been good. It's been fun to see that team play well. But this is a little bit of smoke and mirrors going on in Denver. I think. We'll find out.
I mean, I don't know. They got a 2-game lead on the last place 1-2 Kansas City Chiefs.
Yes.
Now, the L.A. versus L.A. in L.A. Super Bowl scenario
it's gonna be awesome.
Is on the table, folks.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, Chiefs have some issues. I think they're going to be fine. Justin Herbert, Chargers,
pretty good.
Matt Stafford, Rams. A lot of hype. So far, those guys are living up to it.
Absolutely. So, Joe, we talked a lot last week about Taylor Lewan. And obviously, Lewan was not able to go against Seattle after a brutal week 1 against Arizona. And we'll get to some comments made by Taylor Lewan coming up here in just a few minutes. But number one, let's just start here. What did you make of Taylor Lewan on the field? We've talked so much to begin the show about Dupree and Julio not being on the field in the fourth quarter and all these injury concerns that the Titans now have coming out of that game yesterday. They did get their left tackle back. I thought, for the most part, he looked pretty good yesterday. Looked certainly a whole lot better than he did in week 1, which is not a high bar.
So all the Titans fans who are like, no, I don't want him playing. Do you feel any differently now? I mean,
he looked pretty good.
I didn't really notice him in pass protection, which is exactly what you want. It's like officials and offensive linemen and long snappers. They don't want to be noticed. Because if they're noticed in that, then that means they made a mistake. And I thought in the run game a few times you definitely noticed him.
Yep.
He did some good stuff, and they ran that side a lot. And I thought he looked good. You had the terrible game. You had like a lot of the stuff that he talked about yesterday and last week with mentally dealing with the injury. Doing things with that leg that you just have to be able. You have to be confident enough to do. Then you have the scare last week, which he explained was a hyperextension. They realized, they checked him. Nothing wrong with the ACL, but the training staff said, you're not playing today until we can look in there and look at everything. And obviously it's fine. But he did hyperextend it in pregame warm-ups, and then he comes out, and it was a big, big deal for the Titans. It was a big deal to get him back. It's a big deal for him to play like that. It's big for them moving forward.
It is, and Taylor Lewan with some very interesting comments after the game yesterday as well. We talked about how bad week 1 was for Taylor Lewan. We've talked a lot on here on this show about the fan reaction and the booing that took place and the reaction on our text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. It's not been a fun couple of weeks to be Taylor Lewan based on the way that week 1 went for him and everything that's around him and the personality that he brings to the table. And you can tell it was something that really bothered Taylor Lewan. Here's what Lewan had to say yesterday about the fan reaction after week 1 yesterday at his press conference.
I cruised back on the field, and our PA announcer, I think his name is Matt, just got the job. First game, right? Announces that I'm back in the game. And these fans go and start booing. Now here's the deal. I don't know what that's all about. Like I'm coming back from the ACL, 10 months. Like it's a difficult process. And I wasn't playing well at all. That was a really hard game to get over emotionally, mentally. That light went out. Like that's how that week went. That's a perfect metaphor for all of them. It was a really big deal. You guys don't have to be able to use any of this on cable. But it was, man, I really wish I could have articulate how difficult that was. It was just hard to hear the fans after 7-8 years of as much as I've tried to do for this city boo. When I came back out there, that was I remember looking over at Ben, and he looked at me and smiled and shook his head, and I was like, damn, that's crazy how fast they just turned. And I'll never forget that. And it was a difficult 24 hours, a difficult 36 hours, a difficult 48 hours. And,
that was Taylor Lewan yesterday, and that obviously generated a lot of reaction on social media yesterday. And look, it's one thing to hear it, but I went back and watched the clip a couple of times. I mean, he was borderline emotional there.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
he was very close to crying.
He was very close to crying, talking about the fan reaction that he got and just the process that he went through trying to deal with that mentally and emotionally. And look, you and I have talked about it here on the show. Very rarely do I have a problem with fans booing. You've bought tickets. You can boo when you want to boo for the most part. And I don't really feel any differently about that now. Taylor Lewan makes a lot of money, and he wasn't playing well. But it is interesting, and we talked about this a lot. You know, he's done a lot of really good things here. He's played some really good football here for this team, and that was a very quick turnaround that the Titans fans had on Taylor Lewan. And obviously, you know, he brought up in those comments, that is something that I will never forget. This has been a pretty, I think, rough thing for Taylor Lewan to try to work through here with Titans fans.
Yeah, and look, there's some people that are going to be mad at him today that were mad at him.
Yep.
I mean, to me, I guess I thought it was, and I was there when he was talking about this, I thought it was a little out of place. I mean, that's the first thing I thought. I was like, why are we still talking about this? But, you know, the bottom line is I think he didn't say all he wanted to say when he talked to us before the Seattle game. So I'm looking at that quote. He's talking about everything, and the quote then is, you know, they announced I'm back in the game. Clearly he's not happy they announced it, which, again, I think it is wild. And now, everybody, back in the game, your favorite, Taylor Lewan.
Taylor Lewan coming in there, buddy.
I mean, just like if he's not announcing the game, there's not a boo. But anyway, the quote back then was, quote, I'm back in the game, get booed from the fans. You know, that stuff happens, man. It hurt, but at the same time, the way I was playing, I don't blame them. They want the team to do well. They're not just rooting for me, so I'm sorry for letting them down, end quote. He clearly wanted to say more about it.
Yep.
Clearly it affected him. And so, look, I mean, hey, again, I'm never – like, there's things I disagree with, you know, like Ryan Tannehill talking about the vaccine or whatever. Like, hey, be honest. All for that. Be honest. But I also get people – I mean, I think you have to understand as a pro athlete, you are wealthy because people care to watch you play football, you know? I'm not saying he doesn't get that, but it costs a lot of money to go to games. I mean, it has gotten to the point now – go to a professional football game or NHL game or big college. I mean, it is a serious investment, and it's basically gotten to the point where, you know, a lot of people who used to be able to go to these games can't anymore. So they pay a lot of money, and then they have all these expectations, and it's such an awful day all around for the team. I think you can understand why some people would have booed him. Also, like, how many people of that stadium were actually booing him? I don't know.
I mean, it was loud. It was loud. You could hear it on the TV broadcast. But it was loud.
But if it was 68,000 people in there, it still was probably like 10,000. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, clearly it affected him. He doesn't deserve some of the crap I'm sure he'll get today for it. But there was a little bit to me of lack of awareness there from him on, one, you just had a huge win.
Yep.
And two, I mean, this is pro sports.
Well, it is, and it kind of feels like something he's been wanting to get off his chest for 2 weeks. And yesterday was the opportunity to do that, and he wanted to play well, and he did. And then that was an opportunity to get that off his chest. This is what it felt like to me.
Yeah, like first time that he plays well again, kind of let it be known, I'm not happy about this.
Yep.
But I mean, I don't know. I still think it's not like a huge number of people, and it was just every boo that could have come out of anyone's mouth that day toward that team, to me, was earned.
Yeah. Devin from Dover texting in on the text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Joe might have called me a Lewan fanboy last week, but the boy did look pretty good this week.
I called you a Lewan fanboy? Most of last week, I was yelling at people who were saying, "Oh, good, I don't want Taylor Lewan to play." I mean, I'm sorry if I called you a Lewan fanboy. The Lewan fanboy stance is a much more reasonable stance than, no, I want Ty Sombrello starting at left tackle. I don't want this guy out there anymore.
Let's keep 77 on the bench.
Yeah.
I got a texture that says, I honestly feel bad for Taylor. Fans booing him after all he's done for this organization. With him coming off ACL surgery, he's 10 months post-surgery. I mean, give the dude a break.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't disagree. Again, it's just it only happens because randomly the left tackle coming back in the game is announced as coming back in the game.
Yeah, it would have never happened. He would have never been booed.
No, I mean, the only time boos ever come with there's not an announcement is like a quarterback. If they're not basically like they want the backup quarterback in or something, right? Yeah. Or the starter came back in. I've never seen that before. And now back in the game, everybody, give a warm welcome, Taylor Lewan. It's like what? So it was a number of factors. I hear you. He's done a lot. He has, and he worked his butt off to come back from this injury. But it's also like, look at the entire product that day and understand how much people have to spend to come watch you play football.
All kind of blends together. We'll continue the discussion on the Titans when we come back and get into the Julio Jones situation. What in the world happened to Julio Jones in the fourth quarter? We'll get into that next. This is Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5 The Game.
The voice of reason.
Have the players got to the point to where they know that you can't do that? Then maybe it's time to relax the rule.
The voice of the fan.
The offensive line was the worst-looking thing about the whole team, and it set the tone for the game.
The voice of Nashville sports is your home of Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Trust the roofers with integrity. E2 Roofing is a veteran-owned and operated local Nashville roofer with over 90 5-star Google ratings and an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. While roofing is our business at E2, honor is our code. For roof repair, roof replacement, free inspections, or insurance claim assistance, visit e2roofingnashville.com.
It's not just about being in your community. It's about being your community. Come experience the all-new state-of-the-art Volunteer State Bank, second Murfreesboro location at 2019 Memorial Boulevard. Volunteer State Bank offers personalized services like banking for professionals, free Kasasa checking, the convenience of mobile banking, and the money you need when you need it. Visit one of our 13 locations or online at ballstatebank.com. Real people, real solutions, right here. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Hey, it's Jared from my official sportsbook app, the FanDuel Sportsbook app. The biggest game of Week 3 is Monday night between Philadelphia and Dallas, and FanDuel Sportsbook is about to make it even bigger because FanDuel is giving new customers 30-1 odds on either team to win. That means you can end the NFL week right by winning $150 on a $5 bet. You know me, I picked Philly to win the division before the year, so I'm going to take Philly over Dallas. FanDuel is sports betting made simple, and they're always hooking you up with great offers. See for yourself why they're America's #1 sportsbook app. Just sign up with the promo code JGM this week before Dallas takes on Philadelphia. You can win $150 on a $5 bet. Remember to use promo code JGM so they know that I sent you exclusively on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. 21 and older and present Tennessee. New users only. $10 first deposit required. Must wager in designated offer market. Max bonus $150 bonus for Tennessee users fulfilled in site credit within 72 hours. Tennessee site credit expires 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line 1-800-889-9789.
Nashville's best sports talk, locally owned, home of our Nashville Predators. WPRT-FM Pegram, 97.5 Murfreesboro, WBUZ HD2 Laverne. Online at theGameNashville.com. We are
ESPN
102.5 The Game. It's Robby and Rexrode with Robbie Stanley and Joe Rexrode on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Welcome back in. Hour number 2 of Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5 The Game. Brought to you by Volunteer State Bank. Real people, real solutions right here. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Michelle Knezovic here with you on this Monday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. Talking Titans, reacting to a big Titans win yesterday, 25-16 over the Colts. They moved to 2-1, and the Colts fall to 0-3 on the season. So a big one yesterday for the Titans. But, Joe, maybe a costly one yesterday for the Titans as well. Christian Fulton leaving the game, Bud Dupree not able to go in the game. A.J. Brown with a hamstring injury, and Rashad Weaver breaking his right fibula. I mean, there were a lot of losses yesterday for the Titans in that game. And then a very strange situation as well. I was watching the game on the TV broadcast, and you were there in Nissan Stadium, and all of a sudden the Titans have the ball in the fourth quarter, and Julio Jones is not on the field, and they flash over to the sideline. And as they flash over to the sideline, Julio Jones is running down the sideline, just kind of jogging, grabs his helmet, slips it on, and runs back to the sideline and looks like he's just ready to go in. And then we never saw Julio Jones in the game in the fourth quarter. What happened on that? And Mike Vrabel talked about it after the game. We'll get that sound coming up here in just a few seconds. But it was very strange to watch him be fully in uniform, go get the helmet, put the helmet on, look like he was about to go in the game, and then Julio Jones was just parked on the sideline in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, it was very strange. I went back and watched, the game, but I was like, okay, what was Julio's last play? Did he totally decide not to block or not to run his route or something? What went on here? The last play of the third quarter was a Derrick Henry run, I think about 11 yards over on the left side.
Yep.
Julio Jones is on the field. I wrote this in my column, and now I need to get the name again. But Julio Jones is on the field, and he actually did a really nice job getting the backside the defensive end. Al-Qadim Muhammad, he just sort of ran interference, got in his way. An effective block. He couldn't reach Henry. It wasn't like the key block on the play, but it was good work by a receiver on a running play. And that was the last play of the third quarter. And then they came out and continued the drive. And, of course, that drive ended with the McNichols touchdown.
Yep.
But he was never again on the field. So here, let me go back to this. Because, seriously, it really is amazing when you think about 3rd and goal from the 10. You're up 14-13. Huge moment. Huge moment. You need everything you can get in this offense. You have an obvious passing down. You got to have your weapons. Derrick Henry's off the field. We know this happens. Although Derrick Henry, again, by the way, caught the ball yesterday on it.
3 targets, 3 catches.
His hands, but Jeremy McNichols. Tight end, you got Michael Pruitt. At receiver, you have Chester Rogers, Nick Westbrook-Akina, and Racey McMath. That's your receiving trio. And the biggest play of the game, arguably the biggest play of the season to that point. And, of course, Tannehill, quick look off. He said after the game that he actually was, his first read was left, the receivers, but the Colts dropped way out of there, probably overdropped. And he got it right on time to McNichols, and it looked like an easy touchdown. But, again, that's quarterback play, quick decisions, and overcoming the fact that, this is nothing like what we thought would be around him this year. It's supposed to be A.J. Brown, Julio Jones, and Anthony Ferkser, and maybe Darrington Evans on a 3rd and 10, you know, and it's all these guys. So, Vrabel, we can play Vrabel, and I understand, a lot of the fourth quarter you're going to be running the ball, you have a lead, but there were still several plays in the fourth quarter where you had to throw the ball, and where Julio Jones, I would think, might be nice to have on the football field and wasn't on the football field, which I find very peculiar.
Well, and obviously, Mike Vrabel was asked about that after the game and had an interesting response. Here's what Mike Vrabel had to say about Julio Jones after the game yesterday.
Did Julio suffer something new today, or was that
Again, we've been through these with players and their health. Trying to manage a season and the way that the game was going, we felt like that was best to do.
So that was Vrabel yesterday. We've been through these with players and their health, trying to manage the season and the way the game was going, and that's what the Titans did yesterday. So, look, there's not much clarity in that answer, obviously, and I do wonder, was something bothering Julio Jones? And Mike Vrabel obviously is not going to talk about that after a game. But if it's just as simple as, hey, we're just trying to manage Julio Jones through the season, and he's not out there in the fourth quarter, this is really, really interesting stuff and an interesting response by Mike Vrabel yesterday.
So that was the second time he was asked about Julio. So here's the first answer. And, again, there's not much more clarity, but just a little bit more. Quote, I think as this thing played out, tried to manage where he's at, understand that what the type of game that we thought the end of the game was going to be, and those guys were going in there trying to dig safeties out. We'll keep looking at those guys. A lot of guys are going to need some rest this week. A lot of guys that played a hard physical game. Hopefully we can be ready to go when we head up to New York. So, yeah, look, is it an injury that they didn't want to talk about? Again, the sideline reporter for CBS went and, of course, checked on that and said no. They said it's not an injury. And when anybody gets anything in an NFL game, that word comes quickly up to the press box. Whoever it is, A.J. Brown, hamstring, questionable, and eventually A.J. Brown, hamstring, out, whatever the case may be. There was nothing like that with this. So if it's not anything injury-related, I mean, I guess I understand, Vrabel's talking about, like, the type of game, so it's going to be a heavy run game. So you're going to have a lot of physical moments and blocking and all that. But, again, why isn't he going out there on 3rd and long? I mean, they had a huge 3rd down, which, again, the quarterback did not have big stats in this game. Man, the quarterback was, to me, number one reason you won this game, and yet you've won 3 or 4 against the Colts. Makes a real nice play to Michael Pruitt. Michael Pruitt made a real nice catch on that ball, too, by the way. It was a little bit high.
Yeah.
But they went deep on another play to Westbrook-Akina. Drew a PI, drew a big play. But, again, like that play, seems like Julio Jones there. Who knows what happens? But, I mean, there were enough obvious passing situations. The 2nd 11 where Tannehill takes off. It wasn't like they just, okay, here's 4 yards, here's 3 yards, and then here's Derrick Henry for 4 yards, and here's another first down, and Derrick Henry for 5, Derrick Henry for 4. Derrick Henry gets – I mean, they had passing situations that they had to get through, and they got through with who they had. But, I mean, there's something that's not being told here about this story.
Well, there is. And it just – if it's not an injury or something to that nature, it makes no sense. Julio Jones was awesome against Seattle. I thought Julio Jones was fine yesterday against Indianapolis.
Well, he was 3 for 47 in the first half.
Yeah, he's by far your best weapon at receiver with A.J. Brown on the sideline. So, look, there's a lot of people that are going to make it, well, Vrabel must hate Julio Jones today. And I don't think that that's it, but it would be nice, to say something about what happened there with Julio Jones to avoid that kind of stuff, because to me, there's nothing else that makes sense with Julio Jones being out of the game if it's not injury. That makes no sense to me. And Vrabel, surely he knows that.
Yes. Yeah, no question. And so, look, that Vrabel obviously values blocking at the receiver position.
He does.
Maybe a little more than you do. But
nothing wrong with good blocking.
I feel like you're starting to come around and love the blocking aspect of the receiver position.
Alan Lazard had a great block last night on Nick Bosa.
See, there you go. See?
It's good stuff.
It's very important. It's 11 out of 11. So, I haven't gone through every single Julio play. I mean, I guess, oh God, that sounds really tedious. Was there?
You going to do that today?
I hope not. Maybe. I don't know. But, were there some plays where, he just dogged it, decided not to block? Again, the last play he was on the field, he did exactly what he was supposed to do on the play. From what I could tell, it looked like it was exactly what he was supposed to do. He gets in the way, the defensive end, that's also, it's a big guy. Got in the way, Derrick Henry got a big run. So was there a conversation between the 3rd and the 4th, that pissed off Vrabel? I have no idea. But it's bizarre to not have him in there at least in those obvious passing situations. If there was a point that you wanted to prove, well, I mean, I guess the point was proved. You won the game. The other guys went in there, did the job. Hey, Westbrook-Akina, I mean, every time he makes a play, you tweeted at me. Everybody it's Westbrook. But, I mean, honestly, he was –
great touchdown.
He was pretty good. He had – and also there was another passing down where Tannehill – talk about a tight window.
Yeah.
On the sideline in the 4th quarter. But that was also a very good catch by Westbrook-Akina. So he's been a nice story. And Chester Rogers and some of these guys. I mean, Cam Batson's out there. Great. But, I mean, Julio Jones is one of the best receivers in the NFL. So if you're trying to hold on to a game, you get an obvious passing situation, you don't want that guy on the field?
Makes no sense.
It totally changes how the defense looks at the play from the pre-snap.
That's why I have a hard time going there where some Titans fans are going of, wow, there must be some serious beef between Vrabel and Julio Jones. I mean, look, I don't know what the conversations privately are like between Vrabel and Julio Jones, but just from a pure football standpoint, if there's no injury involved or something going on, it makes no sense for the Titans.
And the problem with this whole thing is that, it's funny because like Frank Reich's presser yesterday, this is what he does every presser. Okay, we got Quentin Nelson. That's an ankle. We got. I mean, that's true. That's how he starts every presser. This guy hamstring, this guy's a knee, a shoulder. Yeah, a couple weeks probably, but we'll see. Okay, and anyway, the game, that's good. Yeah. Vrabel, I mean, if this is an injury or something they're worried about it, he's never going to say anything.
Yeah.
He won't specify. He will never, ever do it, which is fine, except now in a situation like this, let the speculation reign, because if that is what it is and you're not clarifying, well,
this is what happens.
Here you go.
Go to theGameNashville.com/deals to check out Nashville's best deals. Current deals include half off of gift cards for Retro Snow, Fat Cat Slims, Central Barbecue, Joyland in East Nashville, and Bad Axe Throwing in Nashville. Get your deals now while they last at theGameNashville.com/deals. We'll continue the conversation on Julio Jones and the Titans. Take your thoughts on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. That's next. This is Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5 The Game.
October 14th.
Toward the net, the backhand to the score! Predators break out in front!
The Nashville Predators' regular season begins when they host the Seattle Kraken.
And the Predators win it overtime!
And your only home for every moment of the action is Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Want a job with great benefits from day one? Join Kennametal and Laverne at their job fair Thursday, September 30th, seeking CNC machinists and machine operators. Apply at jobs.kennametal.com.
Fiero Tequila Habanero is for those who enjoy the flavor of spice, naturally infused with fresh, vine-ripened peppers from farmers in the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico. Fiero Tequila Habanero is unapologetically the spiciest infused tequila available in the U.S. The hand-picked habaneros provide a delicious kick to the smooth Blanco tequila. It's a flavor punch that's perfect as a shot or a spicy way to spice up your hard seltzer, or perfect for a fiery cocktail. Available at fine liquor stores and your favorite drinking establishments. Fiero Tequila, the world belongs to the brave.
Hey, it's Jared from my friends at Hiller. There's no better time to upgrade your essential home systems than this month with Hiller. They're offering credits for your old home systems. Trade in your old HVAC unit and earn up to $1,500 in credits towards a select new system. Upgrade from a standard water heater to a tankless water heater and earn up to $500 with your trade. Trade up to a new electrical panel and earn up to $500 in credits for your old one. Their work is backed by the Happy You'll Be or Services Free guarantee. Their technicians are continuing to take measures to keep you and your family safe and healthy on every single call. Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical, proud sponsors of the Nashville Predators, Vanderbilt, and the Tennessee Volunteers.
Tune in every Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. for Nashville's own Jason Fitz with Jarrett Stillman and Company. Fitz started his sports talk career right here on 102.5 The Game, and now he anchors shows for ESPN. Jason Fitz is brought to you by Blood Assurance. Give blood. Give local. Give life.
Lately, we've been getting a lot of calls and questions about acoustic wave therapy for the treatment of erectile dysfunction. This is a relatively new treatment for ED, but one we've been using for years. This is Kim for the Tennessee Men's Clinic, and if you're looking at acoustic wave therapy or any option to help your ED, it's worth a visit to check us out. Our wave therapy protocols use acoustic wave technology, but often also combine it with other treatments that can give most of our patients far higher satisfaction rates. There is no surgery nor any type of invasive procedures required, and while most clinics you hear about only offer sound wave treatments, with our urologist and provider's guidance, you can likely have sex the day after your appointment and experience fewer letdowns. With another one of our ED treatments, you can last up to an hour and a half, and our expertise in treating these issues means you'll get the results you want. So make your appointment today. We'll show you why our acoustic wave program is the better way to do wave therapy. Call us today at 615-208-9090 or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Visit our website to learn more, including side effects, treatments extra. Results vary.
When you purchase a certified pre-owned vehicle from Mercedes-Benz of Music City, you have the power of the star backing your car. To meet certification standards, a car has to be less than 6 years old with less than 75,000 miles. All certified vehicles come with 24/7 personal assistance and an extra 12-month unlimited mileage warranty. Right now, you can get 1.99% financing for 36 months on select 2017 to 2019 certified models at Mercedes-Benz of Music City. See more at mbofmc.com.
Interact with Robby and Rexrode. Call or text the show at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
Hope everybody's doing well. Joe Rexrode, how are you? Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5. The Game brought to you by Volunteer State Bank. Real people, real solutions right here. Remember FDIC, equal housing lender.
That was my bad.
You're like throwing your voice around the studio.
It's an impressive talent I developed over the weekend.
Nice.
Been working on some stuff.
Was that for like earlier in the show?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, it was.
Sounded
I
good.
thought I was playing a Vrabel clip.
Turns
Turns out it was a Robby clip.
Playing a Robby clip.
Who wouldn't want to hear that?
Good.
That's
also
right.
good.
Let's go to our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. Joey from Gallatin texting in, pretty frustrated that Vrabel feels the need to totally refuse to give details on players. This coming from Joey in Gallatin.
Yeah, well, we've talked about this. I mean, it's not going to change, so it's just you got to get used to the ground rules. And I've said this on the show before too, but like I asked him his first year, like why won't you do this? And essentially, one of the things he says, I don't like to set expectations because on health, because sometimes it's like, oh yeah, a couple weeks and then a player, it's 4 weeks because you just don't know with injuries. Sometimes they're more or less severe than you think, or they take longer or less time, whatever. So a lot of things he does, including like when he got here, we didn't get like locker room anymore during the spring, stuff like that. A lot of things he does are around being a player recently and trying to make it like what he thinks. So again, that's also why he doesn't too often get into like individual evaluations of play and stuff, right? So it's a player's coach approach, but I think at times I would argue that there are different kinds of injury answers that would help you to give them, and it doesn't necessarily hurt the player. So, but it's not going to change. So when situations like this happen, and it is a weird situation.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry, but like something is not computing here. But whenever a situation like this happens, and there's not going to be specifics given on the injury, it opens the door for more speculation.
Matt texting in, I think Julio thinks he's bigger than the team. Vrabel has that Belichick mindset and doesn't care how big the star is. Like, look, I hear that, and we've talked about Julio Jones a lot in terms of the way things ended in Atlanta. I just, without being in the building and being a part of every conversation that Mike Vrabel and Julio Jones have, look, maybe there is some beef there. I don't know. But I find it hard to believe that Vrabel is sitting down Julio Jones in the fourth quarter because of beef that they might have. Like, to me, it's as simple to me as something's not adding up here from an injury standpoint, and Vrabel's not talking about it.
Well, it is one of the two.
Yeah.
I mean, I would tend to lean toward it's probably more on the physical side, but I don't know. And look, I think that anytime something like this happens, the Julio stuff is going to come up.
Yep.
And that's fine. I mean, obviously, it didn't go well late in Atlanta, and he had issues with people, but it's just hard to take that to hear from me because clearly the contract was part of that, right? I mean, everything we've seen from Julio Jones has been fine.
Yeah.
He seems to, he seems to be a good teammate and all that stuff. Is there something with him and Vrabel? I don't know. If there is, boy, it's a long season ahead, man.
Yeah.
There's a lot. There's
a lot of football left.
And the bottom line is, like, if he's able to go and there's no injury reported, then I think it's just crazy not to use him in passing downs.
Yeah, makes no sense. I got a texter that says he probably knows that AJ is going to miss some time and trying to keep Julio as fresh as possible. Well, I get trying to
win a game.
I was about to say, I get trying to keep a player fresh, but you don't need to sit out an entire quarter to stay fresh. Get a breather on the sideline for a couple plays, get back in there.
Well, and again, like Vrabel's answer on the type of game, digging out safeties, all that, I mean, I get that. Nick Westbrook-Akina isn't exactly like the most physical specimen in the world, but he does that job. He's earned his way on this team with special teams and doing that, and now he's catching the ball some. But it's not that kind of game on 3rd and 10. On 3rd and 10, it's you are going to drop back and hope someone gets open and move the chains. Again, they got through fine, but I don't think you're like, okay, we're in this heated division game. It's the fourth quarter. We're up a single score, and we desperately need to, keep the ball / get points. But you know what? AJ's out. I got to think long-term on this. Yeah, have a seat, man. I know it's important right now and all, but go ahead. Let's think about November. No, you're trying to win a game right now. They did.
And that's not what Vrabel's doing. Like, he's not thinking that.
No. But what is it?
I don't know.
You tell me.
It's a great question. It really is. Look, that's going to be a talking point today. I know when Vrabel has his press conference today, he's going to be asked about Julio Jones. So, I mean, that's the other part of, if it is as simple as an injury, if you address it yesterday, then you're not having this big, long conversation about it today. That's the other part of it. It's sometimes, and I get it, it's not going to change with Vrabel. It just is what it is. But sometimes you just prolong this sort of talking point or distraction because you just won't answer a question about it. And that's what, look, there's going to be a lot of conversation about Julio Jones today. And you're going to, if you're Vrabel, have to sit up there and answer more questions about it. If it is as simple as, yeah, he was a little nicked up and we didn't want to put him out there and risk anything, why not just say that yesterday? You don't have to go into specifics of what it is, but why not just say that?
Right. And again, the answer was kind of hinting toward that, but didn't actually say he was nicked up. So if not, then I don't understand. Then there's information we're missing.
Right. Andrew from Dover texting in, my favorite part of the whole game was Henry bulldozing Leonard and his stiff arm after the catch as well. Were a couple highlight plays again yesterday from Derrick Henry. Nice stiff arm after a catch that he lined him up out wide to the left. That was some good stuff. And then the bulldozing of Darius Leonard was something to behold. I tweeted that he knocked Darius Leonard into Clarksville yesterday.
Yeah, it wasn't with what Derrick Henry has done to various defenders, that one may not make the highlight tape, but it was still pretty good.
It was.
Because Darius Leonard's a great player, and he got trucked on that play. That's the thing. We've barely talked about Derrick Henry today.
118 yards?
113.
113 yards.
28 for 113. I mean, tough sledding.
Yeah.
Colts are good. Colts are a good defensive team. And actually, really the second quarter, end of the second quarter, the Colts looked gassed defensively. They were absolutely running and getting lanes, and he was just coming downhill. And then I believe that was a Chester Rogers pick, which was unfortunate. Rogers said, I guess there was a zone man mix-up with him and Tannehill, but also he said, to quote him, I just got to catch the damn ball because it was right in his hands. So that ball pops up, they pick it off. But otherwise, Derrick Henry was already wearing them out in the second quarter, and he never broke one, but very good day on the ground, very punishing day on the ground. And again, you think about that, the Rodgers and then the Westbrook-Akina fumble, this game could have been a total just blowout.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you have two giveaways where you're taking points off the board, possibly 6 points, but at least 3 points, we think, because Randy Bullock so far has
been pretty automatic.
That's the type of stuff that usually loses you a game. That's how, to me, controlling of this game the Titans were overall.
You can watch us streaming live today on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube today and every day. Our video streaming brought to you by the law offices of Amanda Gentry. Coming up next, we'll get into Tennessee and Florida over the weekend. Also visit Georgia's absolute dismantling of the Vanderbilt Commodores as well. All that next. This is Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Let's go, baby. Titans on 3. 1, 2, 3. Titans.
Touchdown! And it's the former Colt, Chester Rogers, on the score.
The Titans grind out a big win against the Colts.
We had a lot of contributions from guys. I'm proud of that.
And seize control of the AFC South.
I thought it was a good win, and now here they sit 2-1.
We're reacting all day on this Victory Monday on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Staples is evolving to Staples Connect, a new world of possible with innovative tools for small business and remote workers and learners. Explore what's new at your local Staples store or staplesconnect.com.
In the concert event of a lifetime, come experience the dynamic energy of one of the most accomplished musicians of our time, Carlos Santana. Blessings and Miracles Tour 2021. This Wednesday, First Bank Amphitheater. Take a trip through the hits from Woodstock to Supernatural and a backwards flip into the unknown. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com.
Eyes, teeth, we love your whole face. Protect your employees' overall health by adding Delta Dental and Delta Vision plans to your benefits package. These plans offer cost savings and the largest networks of providers. Learn more at deltadentaltn.com.
We can see your smile, and we think you should be able to see it too. With Delta Dental of Tennessee and Delta Vision, we can improve your overall well-being by keeping your teeth and eyes healthy. Visit deltadentaltn.com to find an affordable plan.
312 Pizza Company is home to Southeastern Carolines with Caroline Fenton.
Most shoppers today fall into one of two categories. You could be like Dave, who settles for nothing but the finest.
I drive only European luxury sedans, wear the finest Italian leather shoes, my shirts are custom made, and I expect white glove service from those I do business with. I appreciate world-class brands, and at this point in my life, I just don't want to compromise on quality, no matter what I buy.
Or you might be like Steve, whose goal is to always get the best deal.
I'm frugal. I'm all about finding value. I want the best price, and I don't mind going out of my way to get it. I work hard for my money. I just want to make sure when I buy something, I can have confidence in knowing I'm not overpaying for it. It's not being cheap, it's being smart.
You never see these two guys in the same store, except for one.
That's why I shop at Genesis Diamonds.
Genesis Diamonds is that rare shopping experience where you can have it all. Uncompromising luxury and unbeatable value, exceptional service, and the guaranteed best price in America. A premium experience and a smart purchase. This is where the best of all worlds come together. Genesis Diamonds, voted best jewelry store year after year. Green Hills and Cool Springs.
The Predators win it overtime.
The latest info on the hockey team you love.
And the Preds played fantastic.
With the experts you know.
Those players can be important down the road. It's not just a game changer, it's a series changer.
Every Monday at 6 on Preds Insiders. Brought to you by Dr. Kelly Rice Family Cosmetic and Dental Sleep Medicine. Hosted by Ryan Porth on Nashville's Best Sports Talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, Vanderbilt football coach Clark Lee here, inviting you to tune in on ESPN 94.9 every Monday at 6 p.m. for the Commodore Hour, providing you with exclusive insights on Vanderbilt athletics.
Hey Nashville, this is David Price. You're listening to Nashville's Best Sports Talk, ESPN 1025 The Game.
Just talk about, I know the second half didn't go your way, but you had some things going there until that Callaway drop. Can you just talk about that fourth, because you had converted a 4th and 5, and then obviously that play?
Yeah, I had a couple. The second half, just the flow of it. The clock was draining on everybody's drives in the second half. There weren't a ton of opportunities. You had to maximize every one of those drives, and a couple of situations that we're in fourth down that we got Callaway on a simple drag route that's got a chance to pick up a first down and maybe go the distance. We're in a 4th and short and unique situation, having moved centers and end up in a delay of game there and feel like you have to punt the football. So just some unique things that unfolded that you can't do if you want to win against a really good football team like this, you just can't do it as a program. So we got to get better.
That was Tennessee head coach Josh Heupel after a 38-14 loss for the Vols on Saturday against Florida. And, Joe, it was an interesting game. The final score ended up being right around where I thought it would in terms of a 24-point margin of victory for Florida. But I think you watch that game, Tennessee had some chances in that game to really hang in there and make it a game. I mean, they're up 14-10 at one point on a 75-yard bomb from Hendon Hooker to Peyton. And, it was kind of a shock to the system to see Tennessee hit on a deep ball that actually connected, and they scored a touchdown on that play. It's the first time we've seen that this year.
How about that?
Yeah, that was something. But I thought early in the game, Vols were playing well offensively. Heupel had some tempo going that seemed to keep Florida a little bit off balance, but maybe more impressively, defensively. The Vols were getting some big stops early in that game. And then as the game wore on and Florida got more and more opportunities, the running game just ended up being too much. But, the 38-14 score ends up about exactly where I thought it would. But I thought Tennessee showed some signs in that game where they looked pretty good and probably should have made that game a lot closer than it ended up being.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's kind of sad to say, they lost by 24, but really, it should have been a lot closer than that. But I do believe that. I mean, I think look, I think Jimmy Callaway is going to be a really good player.
Got to catch the ball, dude.
You can't convince me that if he doesn't just catch that little drag route where he's all alone, and I think he scores, but if he doesn't score, someone is taking an angle on him and taking him down at like the 5-yard line.
Yep.
And you are trending toward making that game 24-21 early in the third, and he just flat out drops it. And the game completely went sideways on Tennessee from there.
Yep.
So good things. I mean, again, I think it's the same good stuff. I love some of the plays they come up with to attack specific defenses. I like the play calling. I like the offense. And honestly, I don't hate the defense even. Like, I feel like the defense has limitations, but is playing its butt off.
Yep.
And, rallying, tackling, but there's still a lot of just mistakes all around the field. So this is one of those things you can look at it and say, gosh, that's too many mistakes. The overall product here, you have to look at Josh Heupel and say, that's got to get cleaned up. And I agree, but also when you play way more talented teams, then the mistakes tend to come a lot more frequently. And you got to keep that in mind too. Florida's really good.
They are.
Florida's – I kind of chickened out before the season because I thought, guys, could they threaten Georgia? Now, I don't know if they're threatening Georgia, which could have scored 150 on Vanderbilt Saturday. But they are, I think, a legit top 10 football team.
No, they're very good. And, look, Emory Jones, I still don't know that Emory Jones pushing the ball down the field is what you want if you're Florida. But he was good on Saturday. 21 of 27, 209, 2 touchdowns. He took care of the ball. Obviously, he put on 144 on the ground in the game too. So, I mean, that's what makes Emory Jones so dangerous is the dual threat element that he brings to the table. But they're a really good team. And, Dan Mullen, I think we know this by now. He's not the most pleasant person, not the most pleasant in terms of how he deals with the media sometimes, but he's a pretty good football coach. And that Dan Mullen, look, he's going to get this Florida team at least to a spot where they're competitive with Georgia. I don't know if they're going to beat Georgia, but I'm looking forward to that game coming up.
Yep, he's really good. Yeah, he can rub you the wrong way, but you'd love him if he was your coach.
Yeah.
And frankly, he almost was Tennessee's
yes,
coach.
He was.
And it's and that was the ideal scenario at that time, and it didn't work out that way. And if they would have gone after Chip Kelly, then I think he'd be here.
Yep.
Instead, he's here to torment Tennessee.
I will say I thought Tennessee did a much better job on the ground in that game than I thought they would have. I mean, they put up 148 yards. Only 23 of it came from Hendon Hooker, and he had some big runs along the way. But Tyon Evans, 11 carries, 50 yards. He had the big catch as well, which that guy's a weapon. I mean,
yes.
he is something that I think if you're a Tennessee fan, you can be excited about moving forward. I thought Jabari Small ran the ball well as well.
It's a nice combo.
Yeah, look. Now, that was impressive to me. I didn't think that they would be able to get much push and run the ball that way. I was impressed that they were able to do that. But, again, it was clear as that game went on, from a depth perspective, Tennessee's just not there, and Florida is.
Well, and also Cooper Mays, they were better, and then he's struggling and fighting to be out there, and he's limping around.
He can barely walk.
And then he has to – yeah, and it's tough because, of course, you're Cooper Mays, you want to play in the Florida game, and he made a difference, I feel like. And now what does that mean? How much does that set him back moving forward? I mean, I don't blame him at all for Tennessee for him playing, but it's just unfortunate because he's a key player, and like you said, the depth is not there. But I still watch this Tennessee offense. I expect them to go put a number on Missouri Saturday. Yep. I really do. And now is let's find out. I mean, let's find out within the confines of year one. Can Josh Heupel keep this team together? Can they clean up some stuff they need to clean up and keep doing these good things that I think should give them some wins against some of the, middling teams in the SEC?
Well, Alontae Taylor is saying after the game that, basically Tennessee, we're not going to fall apart this year was his quote after the game. He said you could quote him on that. Now's the test. I mean, you've got, quite frankly, a game I think you should win in Missouri coming up this weekend. You've got South Carolina coming up as well. You should win that game. I mean, there are games coming up that Tennessee should win. And now it's on them to respond and do that. Of course, now is Hendon Hooker going to be available? He leaves the game with an injury. Joe Milton comes in. Joe Milton is 2 for 8 for 54 yards. Is Hendon Hooker going to be available to play as they move forward here? Because based on what we've seen, if he is, I think Hendon Hooker's the guy as you go.
Yeah, I think he is too. I think with Milton, obviously we know the overthrows are a thing. And I think especially now you come in and it's like, okay, here's a limited opportunity. It's almost like there's even more juice on the throws.
Yeah.
But it's hard to argue. I think Hendon Hooker overall has been better. I still would buy into the idea that a Joe Milton could end up being a better player than Hendon Hooker.
Yep.
But you got to it comes down to what you're doing out there on the field. So that's going to be really interesting moving forward for sure.
Got to start getting more out of Jalen Hyatt. I mean, he has been a non-factor this season, and that is very surprising to me so far. Now, injuries have been a part of that story for sure. And, I mean, look, he's healthy enough to be out there, so it's hard for me to use that as an excuse right now. 0 catches for Jalen Hyatt.
Yeah, I've got to think that obviously, the big play that never was, but almost was against Pittsburgh knocks him out of the game. That's a factor here. I would think he would get back into it. There's competition though too for those snaps at receiver. They've got a lot of guys who can make big plays. You got to start, I think, kind of also figuring out your group there, because I think as you figure out a more consistent group rather than constantly rotating guys, you have a better chance to make plays in key moments. But, of course, when you're playing that tempo offense, it's great also to be able to just keep throwing in waves of guys and hope that the same cornerbacks start losing a step against them. But I agree. Jalen Hyatt's got to be a big part of this offense.
And then on the other side of town here locally, we knew it was going to be bad, and we knew it was going to be ugly for Vanderbilt on Saturday. I don't know if I anticipated 62-0. That was pretty dominant from start to finish, and I tweeted this out in the first quarter, and I believe this. People joke about this stuff all the time. I fully believe had Georgia wanted to put up 100 points in that game Saturday, they could have scored 100 points.
Sure.
Like I have no problem going there.
Well, they took their starting quarterback out in the first quarter.
Yes.
Right at the end of the first. I mean, yes.
They covered in the first quarter.
They did.
Yeah. Right. Now, Vanderbilt helps. I mean, it's already bad, and they're coming out. They're going to dominate you. They are a dominant team. You are a very depleted first-year program Vanderbilt team, but then you take the ball out of the end zone, freshman, and you fumble. You give them 2 freebies in the first quarter to go with everything else, and it's immediately 28-0. I was there in the press box, and Teresa Walker to my right, Aria Gerson to my left. Stephen Godfrey was in there counting up that's basically what we were doing in the press box, was looking at the scoreboard at the total yards, like, will Vanderbilt have more yards than Georgia has points? And they did. They won 77-62 in that way. Look, it was ugly. I don't know how much you can take out of that game other than let's just see if you keep playing. And I think they will. I mean, I thought I was watching the sideline a fair amount and just watching how they're playing. I mean, I thought they played hard throughout the game. They were just totally overmatched. That Mike Wright got a lot of time, and I think some of that is, obviously getting him work. But also Ken Seals was already taking some shots. And it's like, you know what? Maybe get Ken Seals out of there a little bit. And now, I mean, look, we've got 4 more days after this to break this down. I mean, we should maybe use an entire show or two. The primetime battle of the ages, UConn at Vanderbilt.
Yes.
Saturday night. I'm just sad that I can't be there. Going to New York for the Titans. But
I might go.
New Jersey.
You might go?
I might go. We'll see. Yeah.
Going to Jersey.
I'm staying in New York. So I'm going to New York. LaGuardia, and I'm staying in New York.
Biggest pet peeve this week. Everyone, we're going to New York. No, you are going to New Jersey.
But I'm not. And then I'll drive over to Jersey, watch the game, and
East
come back to New
Rutherford,
York.
baby. East Rutherford.
Is it East Rutherford now? I thought it's actually.
I think it's East Rutherford.
That's where
East
the Meadowlands was forever, but now they're in that other place. But it's still Jersey.
Can you tell I really keep track of them up there?
The 0-3 Jets and the 0-3 Giants both play in that wonderful stadium.
Great football up there.
If we could get Jets-Giants, it'd be somewhat like Vandy UConn on the NFL level.
They threw for 24 yards on Saturday. 24 yards.
Vanderbilt?
Passing. Yes.
Yeah.
16 yards for Mike Wright, 8 yards for Ken Seals, passing the ball.
And
I've never seen that in my life.
And again, Vanderbilt has legit receivers. Actually, Chris Pierce made a play on the sideline. He was just
like
out of bounds.
Odell Beckham catch.
It was amazing. But I mean, Georgia was just like, you know what? We're going to play man-to-man on everyone insured. See what you can do. And also, we're going to be on your quarterback in about 0.8 of a second every time you drop back. And it was – I don't know how good Georgia is because, the thing is, I thought Georgia was amazing based on the win over Clemson. And now we're looking at Clemson, and it's like, man, their offense is terrible. So I don't know how good Georgia is. But I think they're pretty freaking good.
Yeah.
And we might be headed toward Georgia, Alabama in the SEC title game, and we know they're both
turn around and playing each other again in the first round of the playoffs.
Yes. Maybe.
We'll see what happens. Still a long way to go.
Yeah. But Vandy UConn, Saturday night.
Yes, looking forward to that.
And Vanderbilt is what's the line on that?
I haven't looked.
I think they're like a 2-touchdown favorite against UConn.
Well, they probably should be. UConn is kind of a special kind of bad this year. So we'll see what happens on that front. Do you want to win a pair of tickets to see the Preds take on the Sharks at Bridgestone Arena on Tuesday, October 26th? Well, if you do, head on over to YouTube and subscribe to the 102.5 The Game YouTube page, and you'll enter for your chance to see the Preds take on the Sharks. One winner will be chosen on Monday, October the 4th. When we come back, it is time for the Rex Rant, Joe Rexrode's Rant of the Week. Coming up next, this is Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5 The Game.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. Patchy fog will once again be possible this morning. Temperatures are starting in the 50s and 60s on our way to afternoon highs in the low to middle 80s.
It's soccer season in Tennessee. You want goals?
He takes it inside, outside, right foot, great finish! What a goal!
You want saves?
Lifted high, into the hands of Joe Willis. He makes the catch.
You want big drama?
Hooked in and headed in! Delirium! It's Yonder Cadiz!
Nashville SC are back at home Wednesday, September 29th versus Orlando City SC. The action kicks off at 7:30 p.m. Tickets on sale now at NashvilleSC.com.
How'd you like that?
Listen up, sports bettors. This is Hall of Famer Warren Sapp here to tell you about my favorite sports book, BetUS.com. I only endorse one sports book, and that's BetUS.com. Just like me, BetUS is the Hall of Famer of online betting with more than 25 years in the biz. Call today, and they will get you set up faster than I can run the 40. I play at BetUS, and so should you. BetUS.com.
Use code GAME for a sign-up bonus.
Tell them Sapp sent you.
The C10 Nationals are here. Friday, October 1st and Saturday, October 2nd at Nashville Superspeedway. The C10 Nationals, one of the largest GM truck shows in the world. Don't miss the autocross, the burnout contest, the dyno, along with vendor midway swap meet, cruise the track, and more. Cap it all off with a huge award ceremony. Spectator tickets are just $20 per day. Trucks can register at the gate day of the event. Visit C10Nationals.com. That's C10Nationals.com for more information.
Back in 1949, Dr. Houston began the tradition of treating athletes for common sports injuries. Today, the sports medicine physicians at Houston Clinic Orthopedics continue his legacy. Whether you play at school, in a league, on a professional team, or just enjoy being active, Houston Clinic Orthopedics physicians are there to help you stay in the game. Common sports injuries include tears, strains, sprains, and instabilities of the knee, shoulder, and ankle. Houston Clinic Orthopedics is located where you work and live. Visit tn.houston.com to book your appointment online. When experience matters, trust Houston Clinic Orthopedics.
Join us in partnering with the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society's Light the Night. Light the Night brings light to the darkness of cancer through hope, research, and support for patients and families. Light the Night will take place November 5th. For more details, visit lightthenight.org/events/Nashville.
Hey everyone, it's Ryan Porth, Program Director of 102.5 The Game and ESPN 94.9. We're currently looking for our next great group of interns, and if you have any interest in radio, it's a great way to get your foot in the door. Just simply send your resume to together@cromwellmedia.com to apply.
Jared Stillman.
It's kind of a big deal around here. Kind of a big deal in these parts.
And company.
It's not just the trust, it's the way he gets open, and it's the routes that he runs.
Tune in Stillman and Company for your drive home. Delivered by TriStar Moving. Weekday afternoons from 2 to 6 on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Robby and Rexrode is on ESPN 102.5 The Game.
The time is now for the Rex Rant.
Sounds like somebody's got a case of the Mondays.
On Robby and Rexrode, here on ESPN 102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Red, white, and blue.
with the Tennessee Oilers. Gonna get all over you.
And it is that time of the week, time for the Rex Rant here on Robby and Rexrode. I got to tell you, that song was in my head literally all weekend. Beat you like it drum.
I can't stop singing it just around my house.
I was sitting around a fire on Saturday, and I was just sitting there humming the Tennessee Oilers song and out loud. My dad was like, "What are you doing, man?"
That's awesome. What you played that, Michelle? Did you think I don't like the song?
No, I didn't think you didn't like it.
I'm in a good mood now because you played that song.
No, I know. Well, Ryan said you should make a open to that, and I was like, yeah, that'd be fun. And hey, maybe we want you to be in a good mood, fired up for the Rex Rant, Joe.
Yeah, that's true. I don't want to be too
Not
mean.
always against you, Joe.
I don't want to be too mean to Ryan Porth here.
Well, with that in mind, what is today's version of the Rex Rant, which, by the way, you can hear every Monday here on Robby and Rexrode at 7:45.
So I think I've had this rant before. I mean, how much recycling are we going to do?
You start it that way every week. I think I've done this before. But very rarely have you done it before.
Well, it's also like, you know, you get to a certain age and you do the same thing forever.
Sure.
Like I made like a Lucy and Charlie Brown reference in my column today, and it's like that's like the 93rd time that I've gone there in football, going back to like, you know, Michigan State. I mean, it's like, dude, like
it was a good reference.
Come up with something new. Well, thanks. But anyway, so here's let's go to the text line. Let's go to the Porth text yesterday. So it was 206. Okay, so we're talking. And by the way, I mean Porth. He could like fire me on the spot for calling him out here.
Could be,
but it's worth it.
Could be the last Rex Rant.
Yeah, this could be the last Rex Rant. So Ryan Porth text quote: Titans Colts games can be launched into the universe. I bleeping hate watching these games. The Colts can rot in hell. My text back was, the Titans are winning. Here's the text back from him. They are 100% going to lose this game. We've seen this movie before. Okay. So, and again, I've heard this. I mean, last year, and you know what? Give them credit, because last year, going into that game here, I think you and I were both like, yeah, they're better. They'll beat the Colts.
He called it.
And he called it. And, hey, when you got a punter who does what the Titans' temporary punter at the time did, a lot of things went wrong in that game. Titans blew it.
Shout out to Trevor Daniel.
Yeah. But here's the thing that Titans fans, and my larger rant is more than Porth, because I think Porth spoke for a lot of people yesterday. I think this exact thought process represented a lot of Titans fans. I'd love to know how many, but I bet you it was pretty significant. I mean, I saw it on social media. Other people I know who are Titans fans, just this sense of doom with the Colts. So I'm going to go, and this is a bit of what I wrote about today really was also about this. So this is a rant that's also basically the inspiration for my column of the game, because Titans fans, first of all, two things. One, please have perspective. Again, I've tried to present to you the perspective that you need to have as an NFL fan. Just go look at the Detroit Lions. And Matt, think about the difference in scene. You have their owner who can't even speak a word to honor Calvin Johnson because the entire stadium is booing so loud she can't even get a word out.
Just a chorus of boos.
Yeah. Here you got Amy Adams Strunk and people are actually cheering and you're honoring the Oilers. You win a big game. You have a competent owner and a good team and a solid franchise. And sure, you'd like to win a Super Bowl at some point and get back there and all that, but it could be way worse than this. That's one. Two, the reason that you feel like you're cursed against the Colts is because Peyton Manning and Andrew Luck were the Colts quarterbacks. I mean, I went through every single game. I went through every single box score, okay? So it is now 28-12. Colts over the Titans since the Titans became the Titans.
Yep.
28-12 after the Titans win yesterday. 24 of those games involved either Manning or Luck, okay? Yeah. You know why it feels like, God, we always blow it at the end against these guys? Because Manning or Luck was quarterbacking the other team. And listen, Steve McNair, actually, the last quarterback the Titans had where you really thought you had like a top quarterback in the NFL, well, he beat Peyton Manning 3 times straight up. It was 5-3 between those two. They shared MVP in 03.
Yeah.
That's the last time quarterback who could actually give you a puncher's chance on a regular basis against the Indianapolis Colts. I mean, Mariota, Not great, but when he got to go against Jacoby Brissett, what did he do? He swept him in 2017. There's nothing here there's no mental, edge the Colts have. There's no curse. They've had better quarterbacks. That's all it is. So it's 28-12 now, and Ryan Tannehill is 3-1 against the Colts. He lost the game we just talked about, and a lot of things went wrong. He's 3-1, which means that he now has 25% of the wins ever against the Colts. Okay? Yes. He and McNair have half over a period of more than 20 years. They have half of the wins against the Colts. Why is this? Because it's about quarterback play. So stop crying and whining and expecting your team to lose, and understand that you now have the better quarterback, and you're probably going to beat them way more than you lose to them while you have the better quarterback.
It's got a text from Jared. It says, you know better than this BS from Joe. Talking to me.
Oh, really? Well, I'd love to hear it, Jared. What's the BS?
Well, everybody's going to bring up Orlovsky and Curtis Painter and all these different quarterbacks that the Colts have trotted out there that have beaten Titans. But to your point, and I can cheat on this because I've read your column, who were the quarterbacks that the Titans had in those games?
Yeah, first of all, and this is a fact error because I went through it, Curtis Painter did not ever beat the Titans. So I don't know who thought that, but it's not true. I mean, I seriously went through the box scores. Now, he had to play that year. What year was that Manning got hurt? I have it here. I mean, I have
12?
I have it here. So they beat so in 2011, Hasselbeck beat Painter. And then actually it was the same season the Orlovsky thing happened. So, Orlovsky beat Hasselbeck and Jake Locker. Okay? The other crazy win where it's like, oh my gosh, Josh Freeman and Ryan Lindley. Well, guess what? The Titans quarterbacks were Alex Tanney and Zach Mettenberger. Congratulations. I mean, again, you can go through here. Granted, Jim Sorge also had a hand in a win over – actually, the Titans had Vince Young, Kerry Collins, and Chris Sims in an 08 game. But the numbers are about the quarterback. You're going to have a random result here and there, right? But they've just been better at the most important position. I mean, that's it. They had one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, and then – they happened to bottom out and get it could have been one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time after that. I mean, that guy went 11-0 against the Titans,
He did.
And usually those plays are like, they do it again, is because he was the quarterback. So I'd love to know, Jared, what is the BS? What is the BS? Tell me where I'm BSing right now. Oh,
Jared's like the father texting in, Robby, don't listen to your crazy uncle right now. It's fine. Everything's okay.
Jared's afraid to text me right now.
I'm sure
Jared.
He'll text
you know my number. Meanwhile, Porth just texted me in all caps. The Titans are cursed against the Colts, Joe. For the rest of time, they will have our number. Yeah. But, I seriously think there are people who have thought this, and I don't know how long Tannehill's going to be the quarterback or how long he's going to play at this level. You should be confident every time you play them, while the quarterback situation is as it is. And the numbers are already bearing that out. 75%, Ryan Tannehill.
Dennis texting in, it's BS that teams with great quarterbacks will probably win when everyone knows games are decided by curses. This coming from Dennis on the text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
Yes, Dennis, yes. That our fantasy league, Dennis?
Yes. Ben texting in, the game is won and lost in the trenches, and the fact that Indy's offensive line couldn't protect Wentz, especially after losing Nelson, was the story of the game yesterday.
I don't know if it was the story of the game, but it was a big part of the game.
Yeah.
The fact that he couldn't move, so
that was probably
some
more
good
of the
luck.
Story than anything.
Yeah, that's good luck for the Titans. But they did a good job of pressuring him. Shoot, they got Landry had 5 quarterback hits. He only got a half sack, but he was in there.
He was playing well.
The Titans had 10 quarterback hits in the game. The Colts had 2.
Yeah.
And one of them was another, here you go, take a free shot at our quarterback. See if you can knock him out of the game, Bobby Okereke.
Do the quarterback hits count when Tannehill's running 35 yards down the field, lowering his shoulder into a safety?
No,
Does that count as quarterback
he becomes
hit?
a runner.
Okay.
But that's a good point, though.
When we come back, we'll be joined by Corey Curtis from News 2. We'll get his thoughts on the Titans' big win yesterday against the Colts. That's next. This is Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5 The Game.
October 14th.
Toward the net, the back end of the score. Predators break out in front.
The Nashville Nashville Predators regular season begins when they host the Seattle Kraken.
And the Predators win it overtime.
And your only home for every moment of the action is Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
102.5 The Game and ESPN 94.9 are your home for the biggest games in the NFL this season. Tune in on Sundays for all the action, brought to you by Red Spirits and Wine in Bellevue.
It's not just about being in your community. It's about being your community. Come experience the all-new state-of-the-art Volunteer State Bank, second Murfreesboro location at 2019 Memorial Boulevard. Volunteer State Bank offers personalized services like banking for professionals, free Kasasa checking, the convenience of mobile banking, and the money you need when you need it. Visit one of our 13 locations or online at ballstatebank.com. Real people, real solutions, right here. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Golfers, it's time to tee it up at Edwin Watts Golf Shops for the Callaway Apex Trade-In event running now through October 31st. Bring in any of your old clubs and receive a 50% trade-in bonus towards new Apex 21 irons. The Apex, Apex Pro, and Apex DCB are designed with artificial intelligence for faster ball speeds. Swing by and get custom fit today. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee.
Mark Howard here to tell you about my friends at Apple Collision Centers. We all know being in a collision is not fun. Neither is all the stress that comes with it, and that's where Apple Collision comes in. Let them take care of everything for you. That's insurance, repair, and your rental details. They've got 3 convenient locations in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. Their managers, Tommy Rippey, Daniel Neville, and Chris Brooks and Marty Denson, combined for over 75 years experience. So stop in today and tell them Mark sent you. Online at applecollisioncenters.com.
Ever heard of a cold-like virus called RSV? RSV can cause complications in older adults, including pneumonia. The Evergreen study is assessing if an investigational study vaccine can prevent RSV disease caused by a respiratory syncytial virus in older adults. If you're 60 years of age or older, you may be able to join the Evergreen study. Visit clinicalresearchassociates.com/RSV to learn more. That's clinicalresearchassociates.com/RSV.
Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey is the official whiskey of the NFL pregame broadcast on ESPN 102.5 The Game. Screwball is the original and most awarded peanut butter whiskey in the world. Made with real whiskey, peanuts, and peanut butter, Screwball is all natural flavor to be enjoyed as a straight shot, in an espresso martini, peanut butter old fashioned, or a PB&J shot with a berry liqueur. Check out screwballwhiskey.com/recipes for more. Be sure and ask for Screwball by name at your favorite watering hole in Nashville.
Enjoy responsibly. 2021 Screwball Spirits LLC, San Diego, California. Whiskey with natural flavors, 35% alcohol by volume.
Nashville's best sports talk, locally owned, home of our Nashville Predators. WPRT-FM Pegram, 97.5 Murfreesboro, WBUZ HD2 Laverne, online at thegamenashville.com. We are
ESPN
102.5 The Game. Live. It's Robby and Rexrode with Robby Stanley and Joe Rexrode on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Welcome back in. Hour number 3 of Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5 The Game. Brought to you by Volunteer State Bank. Real people, real solutions right here. Remember FDIC, Equal Housing Lender. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Michelle Knezovic here with you on this Monday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. Talking Titans, and to help us do that, we go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in our good friend Corey Curtis from News 2. Corey Curtis brought to you by Invigorate Health in Mount Juliet. Look and feel your best with IV therapy, medical weight loss, testosterone, health and wellness, and body shaping treatments. InvigorateHealthTN.com for more information. Corey, what's going on, brother? How we doing?
I always feel like that's some kind of indictment on me.
I don't think that it is. You look great.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
My wife did the Iron Man yesterday down in Chattanooga.
Oh, wow.
So she's talking about looking great. She did great.
Absolutely. That's awesome. Great stuff there. So, Corey.
Good day for it.
Yeah, there was a great day for it
beautiful.
yesterday.
Last time she did it, it was 94 degrees. So yesterday was fantastic.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's a little bit better yesterday than 94.
Yeah.
Well, Corey, let's start with, obviously, it's good if you're the Titans anytime you can get a win against the Colts. They get it done 25-16 yesterday. It wasn't always pretty, but it was done in the end. It's a win. What did you like about the Titans' performance yesterday? What did you not like about the Titans yesterday?
Well, I mean, I'm watching this game, and I even tweeted out, has anyone seen this game before? It felt like, yes, another Colts game. But I just kept feeling like that 2009 Ravens playoff game when they turned it over in Ravens territory 2 or 3 times. You had 3 turnovers inside Colts territory. Guys, I know shoulda, woulda, coulda. They should have won that game by over 20 points.
Yep.
I mean, that's just the simple fact. Carson Wentz couldn't do anything. I loved their game plan to bring the pressure right in his face because he could not move laterally at all. And I thought that was, really well done by them. I thought they were a little slow to react to the onslaught of screens they faced. But, in the end, I think they gave up fewer yards than they had in years. So I thought, defensively it did okay. And I like not allowing the adversity to defeat them mentally, emotionally, because it's the Colts, and they could have allowed some of that stuff to creep into their head, and they didn't. They just kept pounding away on them like they knew they were the better team, and they won despite playing, because the Colts could point to injuries. They could point to injuries as well. They didn't let that stop them either. So I know that's kind of a broad-based answer, but there's a lot to like, and I think in particular about overcoming adversity.
Yeah, I mean, some of the guys making plays. I think you tweeted this yesterday, Corey. It's like some barely. I mean, Racing McMath. I didn't think we'd see him really on the field this year, and he's out there at the most important time of the game instead of Julio Jones, which was quite interesting. So,
did we get a solid answer on that other than management?
No. I mean, you got the sort of talking about blocking in a physical game in the fourth quarter, manage it. But again, my question is: so on 3rd and 10, you don't want number 2 out there to help you out when you need to move the chain. So I don't know.
I would concur.
So apart from that, which of course is going to be, we'll keep talking about it this week and try to figure it out until the next time they play. But what about the injury situation for this team? I know that's the league, but it does seem like it's piling up pretty quickly, and Bud Dupree not able to go yesterday, to me, is a bit troubling.
Yeah, because that was just, couldn't recover fast enough from the last game. And so, you wonder, is that just like a season-long issue where it's going to be week to week on how his knee responds? And, you talk about, the injuries of A.J. Brown. I mean, yes, he played through a knee injury all last year, but that's not a hamstring. I mean, those soft tissue injuries, you have to let them get better or you can make them a lot worse. And I know that it's frustrating. It's frustrating for AJ. It's frustrating for fans. It's got to be frustrating for Coach Vrabel. They have no choice. They have to sit him down until he's healthy and ready to go because they can't afford for him to completely pop that thing and be without him really for the rest of the year. It's a 17-game onslaught. If they've got to sit him down for 3 or for 5 or whatever, that's what they've got to do. And, they need guys to step up. And, guys stepped up yesterday. What you were referring to yesterday is I tweeted out that they had 3 guys score touchdowns for him yesterday that we weren't even sure were going to make the team. So, I think it's a nice job by John Robinson on the back end of the roster and a nice job by coaches getting guys ready and a nice job by guys being ready. But so they'll need Chester Rogers to step up. And, guys, they need Josh Reynolds to step up.
Yeah.
I mean, I do not know what's going on there, other than it's, he's had some injuries, but it is not happening right now. And they need it to happen and happen really quickly because while we all may like Racey McMath, I think we can all acknowledge that he's not as NFL ready to catch passes in this league as Josh Reynolds is. And so they're going to need, they had a lot of guys step up. They're going to need more guys to step up.
Corey Curtis from News 2 on the line with us, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. So, Corey, how big of a deal was it in your mind for Taylor Lewan, number 1, to be available yesterday, but number 2, to play the way that he did? And what did you think of his comments after the game about the fans booing him in week 1 and how personally he took that, how emotional he was about all that?
Well, look, he was like the first guy I was watching yesterday. And I saw him come off the ball that whole first couple drives and engaged his blocker, his assignment every time. And I was like, okay, he's got it today. He's his head's on right. He's playing. We've seen Taylor struggle a little bit at times in the past, and he's always gotten it corrected. And so I fully expected him to get it corrected today. He is a polarizing figure because most offensive linemen are like backup quarterbacks. They're silent, okay? But he is not a silent guy. That's not him. That's not who he is. And I understand people either tend to love him or hate him, all right? And when you hate him, you just got to kind of grin and bear it because he's a Pro Bowl caliber player. But then you see the moment they struggle, people pounce on him like a cheetah on a carcass. And all the suggestions that he should be benched for Sembrilo and Quisenberry are ridiculous. I mean, they're ridiculous. He played really well yesterday. I expect him to play really well the rest of the season. Those guys have done a good job, but they're not Taylor Lewan. They have not been to 3 Pro Bowls. I mean, he knows how to play football. I'm going to need to see more than one bad game to convince me otherwise. And the other thing, with the fans, I saw him taking criticism for that. And it's like, look, all he's telling you people is he cares, all right? He was hurt because he cares. He cares what you think of him. And, it's part of his motivation. He wants to perform for you. He wants you to respect him. And, he could be like some guys and just say he doesn't care about the fans at all, and you'd be upset about that too. So, every guy is what they are. And I think that's one of the things that bothers me in life is people don't try to take the time to understand people. They just try to take the time to judge people and say, I don't like that. And, people are who they are. I think Taylor is what he is. I like some of it. I don't like some of it. But you know what I never faltered on? He's a really good football player, and we saw that yesterday.
Yeah, I agree. I thought it was a little, I don't know, a little bit out of place. I was like, why are we still talking about this now? But clearly, I mean, for him,
it was important to him.
Yeah,
I mean,
it affected
him the last 2 weeks. And we Joe, how many times did we say we just want real comments?
Exactly.
We don't want this. Oh, we gave it 110%. Guys had to step up. Those are real comments from him. And so I'm not in a position to complain about that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So Randy Bullock. Oh yeah, come on. He's got his job for another week. Now, last week we argued about the ridiculous non-touchdown for Julio Jones, which I still find very ridiculous. But I want to know. I think I could create another argument here,
okay, possibly,
or maybe you're on my side. I feel like this is a little bit of an old young thing, so you may be on my side, Corey.
Okay.
I don't like going for 2. I don't like going for 2 when it's 20-13. I understand it. It worked out great for them. So, hey, good for you. I would prefer to put the pressure on the other team to have to convert a 2-point conversion. Where do you stand with this? Are you with me or are you against me, Corey?
You know what? I'm kind of both, okay? Because to me, you really go for 2 when you're worried about that other offense, right? And I don't think you were that worried about that offense. I don't think the Colts were going to be able to put it in the end zone 2 plays in a row against you. And I would have liked to just put that pressure on them to say, all right, you're going to have to score me 2 times in a row if you want to tie this thing up, because I don't think they can do it. That's the way I would have leaned. I totally understand why they went for 2. I think it's an aggressive move. I think it's trying to throw a knockout punch early in the fourth quarter, which I think it pretty much did, and it was a chance to take the other team, mentally out of the game with like 12 minutes to play. And I think it effectively did that. And I think they also had a lot of belief in the ability of the play they had called to succeed because he walked right into the end zone. So, I don't believe I would have gone for 2, but I'm not dead against going for 2. I get why it was done, and I don't hate it. All right. So I don't know if that's waffling. I'm not trying to waffle. I'm just saying what I would have done. But, there are times you violently disagree with decisions and times you don't, and I don't violently disagree with that one.
Hey, you're being honest. That's
what we're about here.
Honest answer. That's an honest answer for me.
I mean, I think I agree. Situationally, there are times when you have to go with, like, your play, the opponent, the situation, all that stuff. In general, though.
Look, if you got Pat Mahomes on the other side of the field, you got to go for 2. You got to get up front by 2 points.
Corey, last thing for you here. Obviously, some nice, calm, passionate reaction from Bears fans yesterday of Matt Nagy and that offensive showing that we saw from Justin Fields and company. What'd you think of that yesterday from the Chicago Bears? And is Matt Nagy going to get fired in mid-season?
He should. He absolutely should. Look, I mean, we talked all, leading up to the opener of why Andy Dalton was starting. We didn't want him to play against the Rams. Probably didn't want him, Justin Fields to play against this Browns team either. They appeared completely unprepared to protect the quarterback, which is staggering to me. They don't put the quarterback on the move enough, which is staggering to me. Okay? They threw 4 passes in the first half.
Yeah.
All right? You can't hide guys in this league and be successful. You either let them play or you don't let them play. Either he's ready or he's not ready. If he's not ready, put Nick Foles out there, okay? But don't do this. Don't put him out there and say, well, he's going to take the snaps, but we're really not going to let him play the position. Imagine if the Chargers had done that last year with Justin Herbert. Oh, he's young. We're not going to let him sling it. We're just going to have him hand off to Austin Eckler and throw some checkdowns to the tight end. That's just kind of what we're going to do here because we're afraid. It's horrible, but not as horrible as the delay of game that was not called against Lamar Jackson that beat Joe's not Lions.
Oh, the laughter in the press room for me yesterday when I saw that. It's amazing.
How do you not call that?
I don't know.
There are 11 officials on the field who can all see the 0 on the board.
See, that, unlike the stupid Colts-Titans curse everybody thinks is real, which is not real, that is, I'll tell you why, because it's the Lions. That is a true law of nature.
As a Cub fan, I totally relate.
Corey, we appreciate you taking time to join us this morning, man. Good stuff as always.
All right. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, Corey. Corey Curtis from News 2, our guest, brought to you by Invigorate Health in Mount Juliet. Look and feel your best with IV therapy, medical weight loss, testosterone, health and wellness, and body shaping treatments. InvigorateHealthTN.com for more information. We'll continue the discussion on the Titans when we come back. Take your thoughts on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. The biggest game of Week 3 is Monday night, tonight, between Philadelphia and Dallas, and FanDuel Sportsbook is about to make it even bigger because FanDuel is giving new customers 30-1 odds on either team to win, and that means you can end the NFL week the right way by winning $150 on a $5 bet. Give me the Cowboys in this game. I think Dak Prescott has a huge night tonight throwing the ball, but you take it any way you want to take it. Offers like this are just one of the many reasons I love betting the NFL on FanDuel. It's the #1 rated sportsbook app in America. It's easy to use, safe and secure, and they get you your money quickly in as little as 24 hours. So just sign up with promo code ROB this week before Dallas takes on Philadelphia, and you can win $150 on a $5 bet. Remember ROB, so they know that I sent you exclusive. Offer market max bonus of $150. Bonus for Tennessee users fulfilled in site credit within 72 hours. Tennessee site credit expires 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Got a gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
And the save made by Saros, and the Predators win it.
Nashville Predators training camp is underway.
The Nashville Predators back in action.
We're closing in on the new season.
They kind of surprised everybody last year, so the natural reaction is they're just going to get better this year.
And your only home for coverage of the Preds is Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
For a snack you'll feel good about, here's a juicy idea. Go with grapes from California every day. Healthy and delicious, California grapes are packed with goodness. Available at Kroger.
In 1972, a Nashville family business story began when Bill and Beverly Finley founded Volunteer Hose and Gasket. 3 generations have grown the business into the local industry leader supplying just about anything to anybody, from the largest of contractors to your neighbor that mows his own yard. Over 1 million items in stock: belts, belting accessories, gaskets, gauges, hose fittings, hydraulics, industrial hoses, lubricants, sealing products, tubing, fire protection, and more. All at volunteerhose.net. If Volunteer Hose and Gasket doesn't have it, then you probably don't need it. Call them at 615-242-0461.
Bring everything up to speed with the Novatech Managed Office. Novatech's Managed Office portfolio consists of 4 key pillars that provide a unique, holistic approach to business technology, bringing together hardware, software, and services for IT, print, cloud, and security. Novatech's mantra: get it all, get it right, and get it now. From a technology partner you can trust. Let Novatech manage your business technology so you can focus on what matters most, your business. Learn more about the Novatech Managed Office and request a free Office X-ray technology assessment at novatech.net. That's novatech.net.
Bode Nashville is a chic and stylish downtown Nashville hotel, walking distance to some of Music City's most popular spots. Bode Nashville is also home to Sidebar, an in-house cocktail bar, perfect pregame spot on your way to a ball game, a show at Ascend Amphitheater, Broadway, or as a nightcap after exploring the city. Join Jared and Caroline on Monday, September 27th, live at the Bode Nashville for a Titans edition of Stillman & Company from 2 to 6. We hope to see you there. Bode Nashville is located at 401 2nd Avenue South in Sobro. See you on Monday.
Boys and Girls Clubs of Middle Tennessee ensures children and teens, especially those who need us most, are ready to read, ready for class, ready to graduate, ready for their career, and ready to serve the community. You can support local youth and their great futures by donating at bgcmt.org.
Zines First is the official sign company for 1025 The Game. Go to sfnash.com.
If you've missed any of today's show, just search Robby and Rexrode on Apple, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform.
I said, what happened down the stretch to be without Julio Jones?
I just think that as this thing, played out, just trying to manage, where he's at and, understand that what the type of game that we thought the end of the game was going to be. And those guys were going in there and trying to, dig safeties out. So we'll keep looking at those guys, and there's a lot of guys that are, going to need some rest this week. A lot of guys. They played hard, a physical game, and hopefully we can be ready to go when we head up to New York.
How important was it?
That was Titans head coach Mike Vrabel yesterday after the game, talking about the Julio Jones situation. Julio Jones basically not on the field for the Titans in the fourth quarter, and that was Vrabel's response to that. It was interesting, as Corey pointed out. I mean, you'd like to have Julio Jones on the field in 3rd and 10, and Mason on YouTube saying, Julio's injured. Vrabel just didn't want to talk about it. That's my best guess. I mean, I think that would be my best guess too, but sometimes it may be better to at least acknowledge something. So you're not sitting here today wondering why Julio Jones is not on the field in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, it's just, again, I think there's a key missing piece of information. One piece could be, there's some concern with whatever Julio Jones had that kept him out of a lot of camp too, which was kind of never really specified. I mean, he hasn't been on the injury report yet, so or a conversation, or I don't know, not have just completely taking him out of the game, even when you badly need to move the chains on a obvious passing down. I just do not understand it all.
Yeah, it makes no sense. So I would imagine that Julio Jones will be asked about, or Julio Jones, Mike Vrabel will be asked about Julio Jones a little bit later today.
Yeah, and if the routine is the same as it's kind of been, Friday is Julio Jones Day usually with the Titans. This is another example of in normal times, which gosh, I hope the NFL goes back to normal times, but I don't know. But in normal times, the locker room's open. So you can go talk to Julio. Why weren't you out there? Or this week at any point, try to talk to Julio. Instead, maybe we'll get him Friday. I mean, and who knows? Maybe it'll be earlier than that. Maybe we won't get him. You just don't know anymore. The answers to things like this are way harder to come by now.
Well, and, I just got a text from Jared talking about, maybe it was the blocking for Julio Jones, which, maybe it was. I don't know. But you pointed out that the play that we saw before, to end the third quarter, Julio Jones blocked up that play seemingly well on that play. So
I think he did the job exactly as prescribed.
So if that's the case, I mean, the injury to me is the only thing that could make sense. I don't know.
Yeah, because the blocking, I understand that. But then, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 7, or 3rd and 6, I think. They got the Pruitt catch over the middle. You had a 2nd and 11. You had another 3rd and goal. These are plays we all know you're throwing. They know you're throwing. So throw to your best pass catchers would be my guess that you would do. I'm glad you brought up Jared, by the way. It says Jared is going. Jared's got. Actually, this is not just hot takes back and forth. Jared has a fair point to bring up on my rant, which is basically like, you don't know the history of all these games. There's wacky stuff that have happened in the series. Jared, as a fan, living and dying through all of them, he brought up the 2003 game, classic example, division on the line, Titans fumble 2 kickoffs and a punt. You lose late. You can't read that in a box score. That's fine. The 08 game, Titans had the division wrapped up. But, of course, that actually supports my point. Like, that was one of those games that you put on the ledger as a loss, like it's some big, like the series history, and that meant nothing. Of course, there are individual moments that are going to be wacky, okay? My larger point, though, is over time, there's one answer here. I mean, is it oversimplifying? Sure. But over time, the reason that a lot of these games, whether they were close or not, went the other way is because of who quarterbacked the other team. I mean, I'm sorry. You were not going to convince me otherwise. And the point that Jared makes then, okay, what about Lions-Vikings from the 70s? Floyd is on the Lions team, and he said they knew they had a mental edge, like, oh, no, hope we don't screw it up. Minnesota's like, oh, we know Detroit will screw it up. Well, first of all, okay, we've talked a lot about the Lions and how they have a very – I mean, again, that starts with ownership, and their history is pretty consistent. But, see, I know that teams have mental edges over teams in a period of time. So I'm sure at that point the Vikings were really good. The Lions were very good. Like, we know we're going to beat them. And I'm sure that has happened over time here with the Colts over the Titans. But when you have different players, different management, all that stuff, there's not some curse. The fans feel it because they experience all of it. The guys who are actually creating the result on the field couldn't give a rip about what happened in 2007 or 2011 or 2015. But you know what? They won because they had a better quarterback yesterday. And they've won 3 of 4 with Ryan Tannehill at quarterback. So we'll see if the trend continues.
Let's go to ArtsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. Kinston texting in, are y'all worried about Jeffrey Simmons at all? I've been told for 3 years this guy is the next big thing, and he's a future all-pro, etc., and he's rarely making impacts in these games in regard to how he's being billed. Still waiting for him to, quote, take over. This coming from Kinston on our text line.
I think that's a fair point. I mean, look, I think when I watch him specifically, I see Jeffrey Simmons doubled a lot, and I think he'll continue to be doubled because he's a disruptive, athletic, active player. But the great players make plays anyway and disrupt anyway. I mean, he did some yesterday. He had a big PBU in the third quarter, I believe that was. Third quarter. And a key moment there defensively. But I would tend to agree. Is that like, do you worry about him? I don't know if you worry about him, but I agree. It's like, okay, let's see a little more here. Let's see more plays made.
Yeah, no, look, we said it. I mean, with Danico Autry, who, by the way, I thought was pretty good again yesterday for the Titans, with him coming in, with Bud Dupree, who we did not see yesterday, but when the picture is complete for this Titans defense, you want to see Jeffrey Simmons be able to take advantage of that and have a big season. And look, he's been good. He's been fine. I mean, I think you want Jeffrey Simmons on your team for sure, but I think there's still another level that he needs to get to in order to justify some of the things that we've been told about Jeffrey Simmons and the talent that he brings to the table. I mean, look, I know these offseason lists sometimes are really stupid, but we did have a general manager or an executive in the National Football League come out anonymously on this list at ESPN.com and said that Jeffrey Simmons is the closest thing in the NFL to Aaron Donald. And I've not seen much of that.
Not seeing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not seeing Aaron Donald Jr. right now. Good player, but I think there's a chasm between those two players. I mean, there's a chasm between Aaron Donald and probably anybody else in the position.
Yeah.
But right now, Jeffrey Simmons looks to me like a good player. If this team, defense are going to be what they want to be, I think he's got to be more than that. So, good point, Kinston.
Join us in partnering with the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society's Light the Night. Light the Night brings light to the darkness of cancer through hope, research, and support for patients and their families. Through this inspirational nationwide movement, we raise awareness and funding for groundbreaking research and treatment options to eliminate cancer. Nashville's Light the Night will be virtual and take place on November the 4th. Learn more at lightthenight.org. We'll continue the conversation on the Titans and Colts. Got more of your thoughts to get to on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. That's next. This is Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Let's go, baby. Titans on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Touchdown! And it's the former Colt, Chester Rogers, on the score.
The Titans grind out a big win against the Colts.
We had a lot of contributions from guys. I'm proud of that.
And seize control of the AFC South.
I thought it was a good win, and now here they sit 2-1.
We're reacting all day on this Victory Monday on Nashville's best sports talk. ESPN 102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
What is it that makes you uniquely you? Well, DuckDuckGo doesn't think that's any of their business, and frankly, it shouldn't be the business of any tech company. Protect your privacy online for free with DuckDuckGo.
Hey, how's it going?
Great.
This game's gonna be good.
Definitely.
Loser buys?
Sure.
Hey, 2 Dos Equis on this guy.
The game hasn't even started.
And yet, somehow it's already over.
Okay.
A dose of certainty. Brought to you by Dos Equis, proud sponsor of college football. Get a dose. Enjoy Dos Equis responsibly. Copyright 2021. Imported by Cervezas Mexicanas, White Plains, New York.
Listen up, sports bettors. This is Hall of Famer Warren Sapp here to tell you about my favorite sports book, BetUS.com. I only endorse one sports book, and that's BetUS.com. Just like me, BetUS is the Hall of Famer of online betting with more than 25 years in the biz. You need a sports book with integrity and longevity, and you need to know when you win, you're gonna get paid. You need a sports book that offers all the action to make every game feel like the playoffs. Call today at 1-800-69-BET-US. That's 1-800-MY-BET-US, and they will get you set up faster than I can run the 40. Nobody in the industry gives bigger bonuses than BetUS. I play at BetUS, and so should you. Now is your turn. Join now. Call today at 1-800-69-BET-US. That's 1-800-MY-BET-US. My favorite sports book, BetUS.com.
Up to 200% sign-up bonus. Support the station and use code GAME.
Tell them Sapp sent you.
Ever heard of a cold-like virus called RSV? RSV can cause complications in older adults, including pneumonia. The Evergreen study is assessing if an investigational study vaccine can prevent RSV disease caused by a respiratory syncytial virus in older adults. If you're 60 years of age or older, you may be able to join the Evergreen study. Visit clinicalresearchassociates.com/RSV to learn more. That's clinicalresearchassociates.com/RSV.
There's a reason you hear a lot of recruiting ads on radio. It's because they work. Radio boasts a better than 80% success rate at finding the people you need to help you run your business. To learn more, make plans to attend one of 2 free Chris Stonick radio recruitment and retention seminars. The first one will be held October 5th at Hotel Preston in Nashville, and a second October 6th at the Drury Plaza Hotel in Franklin. Both seminars run from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Learn more at thegamenashville.com/register. That's thegamenashville.com/register. Seating is limited.
Contest rules for 102.5 The Game and ESPN 94.9, including on-air, online, and text-based contests, are available by visiting the contest rules page at thegamenashville.com. Good luck, and thanks for listening to 102.5 The Game and ESPN 94.9.
Here they come, turn 4.
Hey, it's Chase McCabe. Every Saturday morning at 9, we hit the big topics. The Ally 400, Kyle Busch, frustrated, Big Machine Music City Grand Prix, and talk to the big names.
I'll go ahead and blame you.
Oh, I think it's big.
Could go a lot of different directions right now.
I was so impressed.
How cool that's going to be.
It's Chasing Checkers, Saturday morning at 9 on ESPN 102.5 The Game and wherever you get your podcast.
Hey Nashville, this is new Vanderbilt head coach Jerry Stackhouse. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
This Wednesday, it's your chance to participate in the Nashville SC Pick to Click, brought to you by Camarena Tequila. If you guess correctly which player scores a goal in the game Wednesday, you win a 4-pack of tickets to an upcoming Nashville SC home game. Participate Wednesday morning at 9:45. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5 The Game, presented by Volunteer State Bank, conveniently serving Middle Tennessee with 13 locations. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Michelle Knezovic here with you on this Monday morning in Nashville, Tennessee, reacting to a Titans victory against the Colts, 25-16, the final score yesterday for the Titans. Gator Tim texting in on the text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. How did Bud Dupree do yesterday? I will text every week this year and remind you how they overpaid for him and that he only got sacks when Watt and Hayward pushed the quarterback into him. This is coming from Gator Tim on the text line.
So every sack was like those guys saying, "Here, Bud, like
take him."
They kind of like hit the guy and like you're trying to hit him over toward Bud Dupree so he can get a sack.
Look, it's obvious he's not healthy, and he's still recovering from the knee. I mean, we had him on the show last Thursday, and he said he was not going to put a number on it, exactly how he was feeling, but you could tell. I mean, he's still trying to get fully back and get recovered from the ACL, and he just wasn't able to do anything yesterday. Now, is that concerning moving forward? Yeah, I think that is concerning moving forward because they're going to need Bud Dupree this year with the amount of money he's being paid and the player that he can be. And I wouldn't pull the plug on Bud Dupree just yet. I do think we've seen some good things from him when he's been on the field, but certainly he needs to get healthy. That's step number one to Bud Dupree making an impact with the Titans is you got to find a way to get that knee healthy.
I mean, for all the attention Julio Jones got, we said it before the season, I've believed that Bud Dupree is the number one individual storyline for this season because you're not going to get close to where you want to get if you don't have any pass rush, if you can't improve any on defense. I think we've overall seen some improvement on defense, but it's hard to imagine this team going against the top offenses in the NFL and not having a significant contribution from him. I mean, especially now, look, I know Rashad Weaver was like inactive week 1 and all that stuff, but Rashad Weaver is a guy who was always going to be a factor in this season, and so now he's out. Roberson hurt. Now you're down to – and again, regardless of all those guys, like you start with Bud Dupree. He's got to be a key player for this team this year. So it is concerning. It's also worth remembering, like Lewan and Dupree also are going to be constantly compared because they're both coming off ACLs. I mean, Dupree was weeks and weeks after Lewan. And so, I mean, this is like pretty fast coming back from an early December ACL tear.
Yep.
So, the hope, if you're Titans fans, is they're being careful. They're not going to push it. It's healthy, intact, stable, and it comes down to just being stronger and mentally being able to get over it. If it's something beyond that, there's some kind of a lingering issue or whatever, some kind of a real setback in the knee, boy, that's a bad deal for this team.
John Glennon has come out with the top 5 offensive grades Pro Football Focus.
Oh, goody.
Ryan Tannehill at number 1 with 86.6.
Okay.
Ben Jones at 2 with 77.1. David Questenberry, number 3, 75.5. Questenberry's been there, I think, all 3 weeks.
Well, honestly, Questenberry's been fine at right tackle.
Yeah.
I think they're just fine. Like, you can't tell me right now, watching Questenberry, it's early, that like Dennis Kelly last year was like markedly better at right tackle than Questenberry has been. And I hate to say that this basically means I'm agreeing with Pro Football Focus's stupid grades, but I'm just saying, like, the guy's been solid.
Number 4, Julio Jones, 75.4. And number 5, Derrick Henry, 68.6.
Maybe Vrabel pulled him because he knew his Pro Football Focus grade was really good. And he's like, I don't want to risk going below 75%. I feel like Pro Football Focus got you right around 75%, Julio. So let's preserve that.
For the defensive side of the ball, the top 5 grades for at least 15 snaps. Christian Fulton, 81. So number 1, Christian Fulton.
Boy, do they need him to be okay. He's been so good.
Ola Daney was 73.3.
Okay.
David Long, 72.5. Yep. Pharrell Murchison, 68.4. And Jeffrey Simmons, 65.6.
There you go, 5. Kenston. Simmons made top 5 PFF. Feel right. Better. I will say.
The Monday John Glennon tradition continues.
I will say. Long, Adeni, Fulton, those are probably my 3 standouts on D. So, Pro Football Focus, turning a corner. Congrats, buddy.
Shane from Ashland City on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Still holding faith on Bud Dupree, even though he's gotten me 1 point in 3 weeks on fantasy. So Shane apparently playing in a league where you have individual defensive players.
That's unfortunate.
That's tough.
On the Julio question, by the way, Brian Porth brought up something that, I think is worth throwing out there because, hey, let's throw everything out there. he said, what if Julio pulled himself out of the game as he apparently did regularly in Atlanta? I don't think that's it. Again, I don't know. I mean, anything's possible. I don't think that's it. I mean, I think he was there. He had that helmet on.
If Julio pulled himself out of the game, Vrabel would not have answered that question that way to start the press conference.
That's true, too.
There's no way.
Yeah. I think you're probably right. Yeah, pretty much right. Although it's like, again, the answer, though, was not a complete accounting of the situation.
Right, but it also, like, the first answer, he didn't sound like he was just irritated by Julio Jones either. Like, if Julio Jones pulled himself out of the game, Mike Vrabel's not responded to that very well. Just be my guess.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably true. But, hey, you know what? Let's throw them all out there.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a curse. Maybe there's some kind of a curse of Julio Jones that we don't know about.
Let's go back to the text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Got a texter that says, Adaney and Autry by far the best free agent signings so far for the Titans. Think Autry looked good again yesterday.
Yeah. He made a difference against his old team.
Yep.
Chester Rogers made a difference against his old team. Chester Rogers also had a bad, let the ball pop up, but he had the touchdown.
It's the second week in a row he's let one pop up off the shoulder, and ooh.
Yeah, that's true. And it almost cost him the Seattle game and was one of those plays in this game where you're like, gosh, you were controlling this game, and then that happens. But I agree. Autry has been good. Autry's been good. I'd like to see Autry-Simmons as a tandem,
By the way, it is Adaney, right? Ola Adaney. I'm looking at a pronunciation guy. That's what it tells me.
Is that what it tells you?
No.
I've been saying Adeney.
It just says Adaney.
Okay.
We'll have to get some clarification on that.
Well, we will. And what?
We're all about pronouncing names properly here on this show.
We're big on that.
Yeah.
And he was out there yesterday, but he was out there kind of outside the locker room. They're bringing some players outside the locker room. Did not get a chance to ask. So that needs to be clarified. Just like Tyson Brilo.
Yes.
Not Tyson Bralo. Needs to remind everybody of that again.
Yes. Let's go back to the text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. Chris texting in, all these injuries we were talking about sounds like a good week to play the Jets. Hopefully they can get by with limited play from these injured players and rest more of them so they can go more from the games at the end of October. It is the NFL. You can get beat. We've seen the Titans get beat by some bad teams before. But to Chris's point, if you're going to have some injuries, maybe the Jets, not a bad team to play against.
Yeah, that's fair. By the way, Jared, who has said that we talk about him 60% of the time on the show, like we're talking about him today only because he constantly is badgering me with his texts. How can you agree with Pro Football Focus's grade? Tannehill threw 2 balls that high schoolers know not to throw, one of which got picked. I don't actually know what the second one was. The first one, which, by the way, was the best quote of the entire postgame yesterday, Vrabel saying Tannehill threw into a pep rally.
That was not a good decision.
It was not a good decision. It was also a totally jacked up play. So Tommy Hudson and McNichols. Tommy Hudson and McNichols are both running crossing patterns, and they bump into each other. Like it's Keystone Cops.
Yeah.
They ram into each other, and then Hudson is, I guess, trying to finish his route, but then he stopped again, and Tannehill threw it, expecting him to keep running. But I agree, you don't make that throw.
No.
If you don't think that Tannehill was outstanding yesterday and was the key to the game, then well, Jared, I don't know, buddy. I don't know what to do. The numbers were not great. They don't win that game without countless key plays from him with his arm and his feet. And again, let's go through the biggest play of the season so far. Jeremy McNichols, Racey McMath, Nick Westbrook-Akina, Chester Rogers, Michael Pruitt. That's the amazing array of talent around Ryan Tannehill in the fourth quarter of that game. So I agree that was a bad pick. They happen.
We've made it way too far in this show without really doubling down on the Nick Westbrook-Akina stuff. I mean, just a great play from Westbrook-Akina. Lots of tweets to you yesterday when that happened. I know it was a big moment for you. You've been waiting on it all season, and it was good to see NWI really cash in for you this early on.
What I'd like to know is is he conscious of like this whole thing around him, which he's like the poor guy's done nothing, to create this situation. I wrote one piece about how the Titans are excited about him, which by the way is completely playing out as a reality. Even with injuries, I mean, like no one even thought he would make the team, right?
He had more snaps than Julio Jones yesterday.
Yeah.
Just want to point that out.
Not sure why Joe's not wearing his button this morning, Robby.
Yeah, I know. I didn't have it in the press box either, but it is amazing. He gets that touchdown, and I'm like, ugh, I don't even want to. Of course, the whole press box is like, like pointing at me. And then, of course, you tweeted at me. Everybody tweeted at me. Stillman tweeted at me, all caps, whatever. Yeah. And I'm like, if you're him, does he? Like,
is he aware?
Well, again, one time he was out there for interviews, and I wasn't in the scrum, and Carson's like, get over there. Come on, Joe. Go talk to him. Go talk to him, Joe. Like, shut up. Leave me alone. It's just like this big thing.
Was that your Kuharski impression?
Yeah, when I do Kuharski, I kind of jerky boys it up a little bit. He's from Jersey. Yeah, go talk to Westbrook-Akina, Joe.
It kind of works.
Right? I mean, he doesn't really talk with that accent, but that's like very Kuharski to me.
There you go.
You got to sauce it up a little bit. Yeah, the Westbrook-Akina thing. Hey, Westbrook-Akina was pretty good yesterday, other than the fumble.
Yeah.
The second guy comes in, rips it out, can't have it. But, I mean, I think back to last camp when that guy couldn't catch a cold.
Yeah.
And he's doing the job right now.
I think
NWI.
I think TD described him as in physical conflict with the football in training camp last year.
Edward
He's
Scissorhands.
like fighting the ball. Yeah.
Yeah. And here he is. So
making big plays. He was the number one guy for the Titans yesterday at the end of the game. It's pretty amazing.
I mean, yeah, again, what was it? 19 more snaps than Julio Jones?
Yeah. It's not what you want.
So good for Nick Westbrook-Akina, but
Yeah, it's not what you want. When we come back, we'll have Joe's 3 best and 3 worst performances for the Titans yesterday against the Colts. That's coming up next. This is Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5 The Game.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. Sunshine continuing this afternoon. Highs back to more seasonal temperatures, topping out in the low and middle 80s. Storms back in the forecast in the second half of the week.
Now's the time to get a great deal on select Kubota compact tractors. Rated #1 for reliability in the under 100 horsepower category, they're designed for easy operation and feature performance-matched attachments. Right now, put 0 down and get 0% APR for 84 months, plus save up to $1,400. Now through December 31st. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
Richard Mosqueda spent 3 months shopping for a diamond and ended up buying one from a New York company online.
I looked online forever. I looked everywhere, and I finally found a great deal.
Well, he thought it was a great deal until he took the stone over to Genesis Diamonds to compare it with a Genesis stone.
And then I brought it here, and they gave me a better price and a better quality. The quality was so much better, and the price was so much better, you couldn't beat their price here.
So Richard boxed up the online diamond, got his money back, and bought the Genesis diamond. Not only did he get a better deal and a better diamond, he got lifetime service at no charge.
To me, there's a value to having a local place that says that we'll take care of everything. We'll clean your ring, we'll size it, and online you can't do that. And on top of that, they had to get the guarantees here and the warranties here were unbelievable.
Genesis Diamonds, where Nashville gets engaged.
Genesis is the best. They'll work with you, the customer service is unbelievable, and you can't beat the price.
Voted year after year as the best place in Nashville to buy an engagement ring. Green Hills and Cool Springs.
You don't need to go anywhere else, just go to Genesis.
Genesis Diamonds.
MTSU football returns to Floyd Stadium October 2nd for the annual Blackout game against the Thundering Herd of Marshall. Kickoff at 6 p.m. The official Blackout ticket t-shirt package on sale now for just $15. Floyd Stadium provides guaranteed fun for fans of all ages with the Blue Raider Beer Garden featuring Steel Barrel Brewery, the Family Fun Zone offering inflatables, carnival games, and an ice cream station. Get tickets at GoBlueRaiders.com/tickets and enter promo code Blackout2021. Go Blue Raiders.
Delta Dental of Tennessee, now offering dental and vision plans. Learn more at deltadentaltn.com.
Darren McFarland. He's cool. He's got a personality, and they make fun of him. Willie Donick.
Would this be a fun guy to come to work and hang around with all day?
Chase McCabe.
They're just like, hey, we need you to play yourself.
Darren, Donick, and Chase have you covered weekdays from 10 to 2. Presented by Curacion CBD on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
This is Robby and Rexrode on ESPN 102.5 The Game.
To bring my Nick Westbrook-Akina little button.
I can't wait until
you have a button.
Oh yeah, Austin Stanley made his eSports gave me a nice button during one of the practices. It's like the parents with the kid, the high school game. I mean, it's very nice. So.
I can't wait until he catches a touchdown pass at some point this year, which he will. He's going to get a touchdown this year, and just the Twitter reaction directed towards you.
Joe will get the hype. Joe will get the hype.
Oh yeah,
it's
gonna be great.
I did after one big play in camp because at first I was just like, okay, everybody shut up. But then after one big play in camp he made, I did a little high step down the sideline.
That was Joe Rexrode last week here on the program. We were discussing Nick Westbrook-Akina getting into the end zone. Little did we know, Joe, that Sunday would be the day Nick Westbrook-Akina gets in there. What a time.
Again, the poor guy. He's like, what? I'm just trying to be a pro football player. Why are you guys all like laughing every time I make a play?
Did you high step in the press box?
Did you get up and make a lap?
Yesterday, no, I did not. I just laughed. And I'm like, I don't even want to look at my mentions. Buck's like, next to me, and then I got Kaharski on one side and Buck on the other side. And they're constantly giving me crap anyway. But no, I just was like, okay, so my mentions are about to go crazy. And they did.
Yes, they did.
By the way, Jared, I'll go back to Jared, who, again, is forcing us to talk about him all day. So more than our normal 60% that we talk about Jared, we're going to be like 75% Jared today. So he said the other throw that he said high schoolers should know how to throw. He was getting sacked, threw it up in the air, landed at the feet of McNichols, but easily could have been a pick six. Yeah, that was a risky throw. Yeah. The key to the game was 22. See, it's interesting. I mean, look, Derrick Henry's always a key. He was great yesterday, I thought. I mean, the numbers weren't great, but I thought he was great. The run game was rugged against a tough defense with, Buckner in the middle of that thing and Leonard. I mean, that is a tough physical defense. But to me, you've got to have quarterback play. It's like the Seattle game. It again, might have been Derrick Henry's best game. It was one of his top probably 3 or 4 games for sure, right? He was incredible. Yep. He was a story, one of the stories of the league. And you still just go home with an L if Tannehill doesn't make throw after throw, especially on the tying drive. Some of them were just simple checkdowns, but that's what you do. Great quarterbacks know when to do that too. So, look, they're not in competition with each other. Tannehill, I think, loses around the league in terms of perception because of Derrick Henry. And Derrick Henry deserves all the credit he gets, but Tannehill is a huge key, as much a key as anyone, because, of course, in this league, the quarterback always will be.
Sure. That's the name of the game at that position. So with that in mind, your 3 best and 3 worst for the Titans against the Colts yesterday. We'll start with the 3 best. Who were the 3 best players, the 3 best elements of the Titans yesterday against the Colts?
I'm going Ryan Tannehill.
Number 1.
I'm going Ryan Tannehill, again, because the numbers not great. Yes, the pick was bad. The other pick was on Rodgers. But he kept it together and made the key plays, again, especially with a completely, almost basically a practice squad offensive skill set around him. He gets absolutely obliterated early in the game, does not affect how he plays. It never does. And some of the plays he made with his feet in that game were huge. And the biggest one was the 13-yarder at the end, staying in bounds. 28-yarder earlier. He just made a lot of plays in one of those tough divisional defense-first kind of games where the stats aren't going to jump off the page at you. But 3 touchdown passes, and that's the key. You finish in the red zone. Why? Because on 3rd and goal, he hits Rodgers. He finds man coverage. He's able to hold off, wait. He breaks open, he hits him. 3rd and goal, he hits McNichols. Looked easy, but again, you got to throw it right on time. I even timed it. It was 2.2 seconds. After a quick look off to the left, which was supposed to be the first read, throws him with momentum to the sideline, and he gets in easily. It's what looks like an easy play, but so many quarterbacks are a little bit off or a little bit late, and you don't score on that play. And then, of course, he threw the TD to Westbrook-Akina. So those are his 3 touchdown passes. Rodgers, Westbrook-Akina, McNichols, okay? I think I'm going to give a little credit to the quarterback when the game turns out like that. He's in command, and the Titans are in good shape with him at QB.
Your second best thing you saw out of the Titans yesterday?
So I'm kind of combining a bunch of stuff. Lewan, the O-line, Henry, the running game was really good against a very tough opponent. I think this is one of the toughest, run defenses the Titans will face this year. And they were able to, even in the second quarter, really start getting some lanes for Henry. Taylor Lewan looked like Taylor Lewan to me. Maybe, I don't know. What was his Pro Football Focus grade? Was it good? Who knows?
He wasn't in the top 5.
He was in the top 5. All right. I thought in the running game, they went left more than right, and Lewan was a big part of some of those good runs. And I didn't see him have any issues in pass pro. He was left alone, and that's a big development for them. Overall, good offensive line play, and Henry was great. Henry is always right at the top of reasons the Titans win.
Number 3 on the list of best things from the Titans yesterday.
I'm going to go Adene? Adene? Is that what you're telling me?
Adene.
Adene.
I'm just telling you what the pronunciation guide says.
Okay. Ola Adene. I like that. Okay, we can get used to that. He and Landry together. You got no Bud Dupree. You got no Derek Roberson. You got an awful injury for Rashad Weaver. And, the Titans had 10 quarterback hits in this game. Those 2 guys had 8 of them. Landry had 5. Adene had 3. They also combined for both sacks. Adene had 1.5. Landry had 1. I mean, Landry really cleaned up the second one and made sure Wentz got to the ground. But 8 quarterback hits, 2 sacks. Those guys were big time. And Adene he's becoming a really nice find for this team. And this is, by the way, he's one of those guys, go back to the preseason. This is why you can't broad brush across the board. Preseason football means nothing. A lot of it, yes. But he did flash in the preseason, and he's now taking it to the regular season. I mean, he's got some speed and some pass rush juice, and they really needed it. And, boy, they might need more of it than they would like to need in the near future.
Was Adene the guy in training camp that just totally blitzed past Dylan Radins, and we're like, oh, boy, Dylan Radins could be in trouble?
Exactly
Adene
right.
might be pretty good.
You're like, man, this second-round pick is getting just worked by this. Who is this guy? He brought in for special teams? Well, man, that's bad. Well, there you go. He's looking like a pretty good football player.
Joe Rexrode, your 3 worst things from the Titans yesterday, beginning with number 1.
So, I came up with 2. You got to help me with a third.
Okay.
But the worst is the turnovers.
For sure.
Again, I agree. Like Tannehill, you can't throw that. He had to pump, and it's like, okay, then you're just going to throw that pass still. I think that's one where you just you tuck it or you sail it or whatever. But that's a bad pick. Rodgers, I mean, you can't. Gosh, if you're going to drop the ball, don't let it pop up in the air. That's 2 weeks in a row. Can't let that happen. And then Westbrook-Ikhine, I mean, look, man, if you're going to be out there, you're going to have to expect guys to come in second and try to rip the ball out, and you got to be stronger with the ball than that. Those turnovers, especially, 2 of them are when these drives that are moving toward the end zone. So you flip it around. I mean, at the end of the first half, I get why some Titans fans are like, oh, here we go. Because it was going to be certainly 17-7, assuming Bullock makes the field goal. But it's not going to be 14-10. That's a big swing with the Colts getting the ball. So those could have been fatal, and in most weeks they will be. And the Titans are 7-1 against in turnovers, so they're making too many mistakes. Also, you have got to start getting the ball away from the opponent. You got to start making more plays defensively. Overall, it's been pretty good defensively since the opener. It's been, I would say, awfully good the last 6 quarters of football.
Yeah,
but you got to force more turnovers.
No, I don't think there's any question about that. Number 2, your second worst thing that you saw from the Titans.
It's injuries. And so, again, I'm not blaming them. It's not a thing where they messed it up, but it's starting to look a little bit rough here for this team. For Christian Fulton, that's a big one. A.J. Brown, how long is he going to be out? Is Julio Jones hurt?
That's what I was going to put at number 3, like in a separate category, because I have no clue. Is he hurt or is he not? Is he just not playing in the fourth quarter?
There you go. I like that. Julio Jones, the mystery of Julio. That's a good third. Because it's great that the Titans got this done and made the plays. And, again, I think Tannehill, not only are these, again, kind of guys, fringe roster guys, so that means that Tannehill doesn't get a ton of reps with these guys. I mean, he's getting them with Rodgers now because he's kind of – but, I mean, he's not getting a ton of reps with Westbrook-Ikhine and Batson, and Pruitt makes a big play. So that's great, and it's one of those like dig deep and next man up type of wins. But what the heck's going on with Julio Jones? I can't for the life of me understand if he's healthy, if there's not some personal conflict, why he would not be on the field in obvious passing downs in a National Football League game that you need to win against a division rival. I can't figure it out.
I'm really interested to see what Mike Vrabel has to say about that. I believe Vrabel's press conference today at 12:30. So looking forward to that one coming up.
I'm guessing not a ton.
Probably not.
It'll be interesting.
I bet he'll be asked about it. So we'll see what happens on that front. Make sure you tune into the NFL Game of the Week on ESPN 94.9, brought to you by Red Spirits and Wine in Bellevue. The NFL Game of the Week, the Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the Green Bay Packers on Sunday, coming up at 3:25, a Robby Stanley, Chanel Knezovic battle. We'll see what happens on that front. Make sure you tune into that coming up on Sunday at 3:25. And we are streaming today and every day live on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. Our video streaming brought to you by the law offices of Amanda Gentry. When we come back, we'll continue the discussion on the Titans. Got more of your thoughts to get to, reacting to a 25-16 win for the Titans yesterday against the Colts. That's next. This is Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Take us wherever you may go.
There are two guys on my untouchable list.
Tune us in anywhere, anytime.
Every team's got those. That's my point.
Just search The Game Nashville in your app store and download today. And keep it locked on Nashville's best sports talk. ESPN 102.5 The Game.
From the Bulldogs to the Huskies, this is the Commodore Report. I'm Kevin Ingram. A final non-conference matchup against UConn is next for Vanderbilt football, which received a tough progress report with Saturday's 62-0 loss to second-ranked Georgia. Turnovers and mistakes led to a 35-point first quarter for the Bulldogs. Captain Elijah McAllister.
Try to think about each snap individually and how we can control that. I just felt like we had to get settled in more in defense. We just had to get settled in.
Vandy is 1-3 through the first third of the season, and you can hear more with Coach Clark Lee tonight on the Commodore Hour, 6 o'clock Central Time on the Vanderbilt Sports Network from Learfield. Vanderbilt soccer has its first win of SEC play, shutting out Alabama 3-0 on a beautiful Sunday in Nashville. Peyton Cutshaw scored in the 15th minute, then Reagan Kelly posted 2 goals just after halftime. Coach Darren Ambrose saw his team put together 90 strong minutes.
I think for the first time this season we were really clinical in front of goal, and we created probably 4 or 5 chances and scored 3. So that's something we've been missing a little bit. So I'm proud of him.
Kate Devine made 5 saves in her second shutout in 3 conference games. The Commodores play again Friday against Missouri. Vanderbilt women's golf finished 6th at the Mason Rudolph Championship at the Legends Club in Franklin. Oregon was a runaway winner at 26 under par as a team. Individually, Austin Kem was 3rd at -8. Men's tennis at the ITA Ohio Valley Regionals. 2 Vanderbilt players made Sunday's quarterfinals in Knoxville. And that's the Commodore Report on 102.5 The Game and ESPN 94.9.
Hi guys, it's Andrew with Hillside Medical Clinic. Are you struggling with erectile dysfunction and sick of pills? Well, I have breaking news. Hillside Medical Clinic uses the most proven form of wave technology available, clinically shown by Cambridge to open up and regrow blood vessels. No pills and no side effects. If you're ready to put a stop to your ED by treating the root cause, call us now, and not only will the assessment and blood flow ultrasound be free, we'll also include something unique that produces powerful results in the bedroom. You're going to love that. And to those that call in the next 2 minutes, you'll qualify for an extra treatment free. This is an unheard of value worth hundreds of dollars. Call 615-576-5000. That's 615-576-5000. Put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and get your love life back. Call Hillside Medical Clinic in the next 2 minutes to qualify for this unprecedented offer. 615-576-5000.
Nashville's best sports talk, locally owned, home of our Nashville Predators. WPRT-FM Pegram, 97.5 Murfreesboro, WBUZ HD2 Laverne, online at thegamenashville.com. We are
ESPN
102.5 The Game. Live. It's Robby and Rexrode with Robby Stanley and Joe Rexrode on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Welcome back in. Final hour of Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5 The Game. Brought to you by Volunteer State Bank. Real people, real solutions right here. Remember FDIC, equal housing lender. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, and Michelle Knezovic here with you on this Monday morning in Nashville, Tennessee, reacting to a 25-16 win for the Titans against the Colts. They improve to 2-1 on the season. The Colts fall to 0-3. So, the Colts, they're not done. There's still a chance to dig their way out of this, but we're getting close to desperation time from the team from Indianapolis. 0-3 is not a good start.
You can't get to 0-4. Although the schedule gets lighter and all that, if the Titans take care of business Sunday, as they should.
Yeah.
As they should. If they do, and you fall to 0-4 against the Dolphins, at some point it's a real problem. But I still think they have a real solid chance, especially as I look at the Steelers and I look at the Patriots, two teams I thought would be better than they are.
Yeah, they don't look very good.
I think there's opportunity for the Colts to still get in, and that would make them the 7th team since 1980 to start 0-3 and get in. They need Carson. It's all about Wentz. Wentz, I thought, actually was pretty good yesterday, given the circumstances. And I think if he gets back to being Carson Wentz and he can break the pocket and do what he's always done well, that could be a pretty formidable team before it's all said and done. That's a huge if with him.
Yeah, and if he gets back healthy, does he stay healthy? I think that's a fair question at this point as well, given the injury history of Carson Wentz, even the recent history of Carson Wentz in his time with Indianapolis. There is a breaking news trade in the NFL. The Panthers.
AFC South related.
Yeah, absolutely. The Panthers closing in on a trade for cornerback C.J. Henderson. So Carolina sending tight end Dan Arnold and a 3rd-round pick to the Jags for the former first-round pick Henderson and a 5th-rounder. Immediate help in Carolina while Henderson starts anew. Things going really well for Jacksonville so far.
So Carolina, that's a little go-for-it trade as they have a nice start. They're interesting. I do like their D. I like their D. We'll see with Darnold. And that's now you make that D a little saltier with a good cornerback. You also now make the Jaguars even less fearsome, a terrible team that they already are. So no excuses when you play the Jags this year.
Let's go to our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. Shane from Ashland City texting in. I know it's only week 3, but Derrick Henry is already projected to hit 400 carries this year. What do y'all think of that? What do you think of the workload that we've seen from Derrick Henry so far? He had 41 touches against Seattle, 28 carries yesterday for Henry, 3 receptions.
I think if you handle business in New Jersey. On Sunday. That's a game where maybe a nice 18-carry day for Derrick Henry might not look so bad, right? You play the Texans, and that's the problem. You play the Texans and Jaguars 4 times, which is a chance for like 1,000 yards for him just in those 4 games. But also, I'd say here and there you pick some spots. Mekhi Sargent got a carry yesterday.
He did.
Here and there, get him a few carries. McNichols, maybe Evans comes.
It'd be nice to have Darrington Evans in there at some point.
But, right now, you go to Seattle. It was all about getting him the ball and just hammering them with him in the 4th quarter. Yesterday, you're in a close game. That 4th quarter drive for a field goal was how much time did that take off the clock? That was an epic drive, which again included some big time conversions from Tannehill. But that specific drive was 14 plays, 67 yards, 7:22 off the clock. It just killed the Colts. So they get it down. You get a big red zone stop because, again, Breon Borders comes in, gives you a nice lift. They go at him twice.
Breon looked good in there, man.
That's great. That's where you have twos who can come in and do that. That's a big part of being a winning football team. But, it's 10-20 left in the game. It's a 6-point game. And so the Titans take 7.5 minutes off the clock, and then they're basically toast. So that's the workload. A lot of it was on that drive too, including a catch for Derrick Henry. If you're in close games, how are you not using him like that?
It's a great question. And to that point, the NFL on CBS has come out with a pretty telling stat on Twitter. Here are the top 5 running backs in terms of rush attempts over the last 2 weeks. Nick Chubb at 33 with number 5. Peyton Barber with 36 carries with number 4. Aaron Jones at 36. Joe Milton, number 2 on the list at 38. Derrick Henry, 63. So you go from 38 to 63. Kind of in a league all by himself.
That's, yeah. And you just, like, I don't feel like you want that to be, you don't want him to be almost double anyone else, over a stretch of time, right?
I have a feeling he's going to be.
But, yeah, but this is where, like, this is one of those secondary but still important storylines from a week like this. Go kick the crap out of the Jets. And you know what? Derrick Henry could probably go for a big number against the Jets. But maybe then instead you get him extra rest and the overall accumulation isn't there. I mean, like yesterday, yeah, he launched Darius Leonard, and he had the stiff arm after the catch, and he punishes people. He also took some hits yesterday. Yeah. I mean, those safeties were coming downhill and trying to deliver punishing hits. You can't tell me that there's no impact, as much as a cyborg as he seems, on him over the long haul.
Yeah, look, I think it's a good idea to start to reduce some of those touches in games where you can. The problem is, with A.J. Brown hurt and with Julio Jones, Lord knows what's going on with him, the game plan on Sunday could be, yeah, we're just going to give the ball to Derrick Henry over and over and over again. Like that could be the way you have to win if other guys aren't available. So,
well, it could be, or it could be, hey, NWI, here come 15 targets your way, buddy.
Could be.
By the way, DJ Burnside Dennis, a nice NWI with the NWA type letters straight out of Bloomington.
That was great with his face on there.
He's got the gloves. Is that Eazy-E's body with his face? I think it is.
Tim from Lewisburg on the text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. I instantly thought of Rexrode when Nick Westbrook-Akina scored yesterday. Need Joe to wear his button live on the air on YouTube.
Maybe I'll do that.
Maybe you'll do that tomorrow.
It's home because, I wouldn't actually wear a player button to, like, try to be a professional covering a sporting event. Maybe I guess I could wear it in here, though, and have a laugh.
We're not about professionalism.
Yeah, we're not. Yeah, we're completely unprofessional here, so that's fine.
Matt from Camden texting in. Someone that needs some love from yesterday is Harold Landry. He only had 4 tackles and half a sack, but he had 5 quarterback hits. He works his tail off.
So you didn't just listen to our last segment when we talked about all that?
Yeah.
Absolutely. No, totally agreed. Harold Landry. What did he play every snap? I mean, Harold Landry
probably pretty close.
is a solid football player and durable. And you can't overstate the importance of being available all the time, practicing every day.
Yeah.
And he actually had a little, I don't remember what it was. He was on the injury report recently. So he gets nicked up too, but he's out there, and then he plays every snap, and he makes plays. I agree. I thought he was very good yesterday. He and Adaney, if that's correct, were a nice tandem. Not exactly what we thought we'd be talking about at this point, but again, that's why you get a Borders, and now your top corner goes down, and he saves the day for you. You lose your number one free agent, and you've got an Adaney ready to come in and make plays. It's a critical part of winning in this league.
Are you struggling to find and retain good employees? Well, we can help. Cromwell Media invites you to attend one of our 2 free recruitment and retention seminars hosted by Chris Stonick on October the 5th or 6th. For the past 33 years, Stonick has helped hundreds of companies find newer, more cost-efficient ways to recruit qualified employees. You can learn new recruitment strategies, enjoy a continental breakfast, and be eligible to win door prizes. Go to thegamenashville.com/register for more info and to sign up. We'll continue the conversation on the Titans coming up next, including how concerned are we about the injuries that have piled up now for the Titans. We'll get to that next. This is Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Hang out with us every weekday starting at 6 a.m. with Robby and Rexrode.
I really am. You gotta be. I mean, I just totally am. You've gotta be.
Darren, Donick, and Chase from 10 to 2.
Good participation. We have a system now, thank goodness. I had a funny moment happen.
And Stillman and Company from 2 to 6.
I have a story.
Get a cupcake.
Watch live on Periscope, Twitch, and YouTube. Tune in anytime on the Game Nashville app or your home speaker. This is Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
Creating the finest award-winning tequila means starting with the best ingredients. Camarena Tequila is 250 years in the making from Arandas, Jalisco, Mexico. You see, at Camarena, they wait for their 100% blue Weber agave to reach maturity before harvesting each and every plant by hand. This allows them to consistently produce one of the smoothest and best-tasting tequilas in the world. Experience Camarena Tequila today, available at a fine liquor store near you. Camarena Tequila is the official tequila for the Nashville Soccer Club.
Ever heard of a cold-like virus called RSV? RSV can cause complications in older adults, including pneumonia. The Evergreen study is assessing if an investigational study vaccine can prevent RSV disease caused by a respiratory syncytial virus in older adults. If you're 60 years of age or older, you may be able to join the Evergreen study. Visit clinicalresearchassociates.com/RSV to learn more. That's clinicalresearchassociates.com/RSV.
The C10 Nationals are here Friday, October 1st and Saturday, October 2nd at Nashville Superspeedway. The C10 Nationals, one of the largest GM truck shows in the world. Don't miss the autocross, the burnout contest, the dyno, along with vendor midway swap meet, cruise the track, and more. Cap it all off with a huge award ceremony. Spectator tickets are just $20 per day. Trucks can register at the gate day of the event. Visit C10Nationals.com. That's C10Nationals.com for more information.
Hey, it's Jared for TriStar Moving. If you're looking to move, you need to give my friends at TriStar Moving a call. At TriStar Moving, you'll get 5-star service throughout the entire process. Everything will be taken care of, from covering your floors, banisters, railings, front door thresholds, furniture, TVs, and more. They took great care of my move and made it as stress-free as possible. If you're looking to move, give TriStar Moving a call, 615-640-1219, or visit them at nashvillemoving.org/radio and get 5% off your entire move. TriStar Moving, my official movers.
Hey, Darren McFarland here, and let me tell you about my friends at Carson CBD. If you're like me and have aches and pains all over your body and you've been searching for a solution, well, I've got it. It's Carson CBD. Carson means healing, and that right there says it all. Carson is locally and organically sourced CBD products right here from Middle Tennessee. From seed to final sell, Carson is passionate about providing quality products for everyday use for athletes and for pets too. Order yours now at CarationCompany.com. Carson CBD, curated for life.
Yo, it's Teron Davenport here to tell you about my friends at Freedom Tire Guys. They're Nashville's premier mobile tire company, and they do it all. New tires, balance, rotation, everything. Bill, a recent customer of theirs, loved the way they came to him and saved him time and money. So if you're like Bill, you like convenience, and you need some new tires, check out FreedomTireGuys.com. If you don't see the tires you like, give them a call, and they'll find them for you. Check them out today at FreedomTireGuys.com.
Interact with Robby and Rexrode. Call or text the show at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
Join Stillman and Company today, 2 to 6, live from the Boat Hotel, located at 401 2nd Avenue South. Boat is only a 15-minute walk from Nissan Stadium and a great place to meet your friends and tailgate before the game in the courtyard that offers fire pits, picnic tables, lounge chairs, vintage truck seating, cornhole, and more. Stop by and grab some game swag and sign up for your chance to win a pair of tickets to see WWE Raw at Bridgestone Arena coming up on Monday, October the 4th. So make sure you check that out today. Stillman and Company from 2 to 6. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5 The Game, brought to you by Volunteer State Bank, conveniently serving Middle Tennessee with 13 locations. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Michelle Knezovic here with you, reacting to a 25-16 win for the Titans against the Colts. And Joe, it is good news every time you can beat the Colts if you're the Titans. But it was a costly win yesterday. Bud Dupree not able to give it a go yesterday for the Titans. A.J. Brown I'd have to go back and look at how many snaps he got, but it wasn't very much. He was out very early in the game with a hamstring injury. Julio Jones did not really play in the fourth quarter. Christian Fulton leaves the game. Rashad Weaver leaves the game with a broken right fibula. It was a very costly day yesterday for the Titans on the injury front, and look, we'll have to wait and see this week on how some of these play out. I think we know that Rashad Weaver's probably done for the year at this point. But with Fulton and A.J. Brown and some of these other names, we'll have to wait and see how it plays out. But potentially a very costly victory for the Titans yesterday, and I think we've gotten to the point already where injuries have got to be a pretty big concern with this group. You still have Henry and Tannehill, so you feel great about that. Lawan came back in. I thought played pretty well yesterday, but that was a lot of injuries that took place yesterday for the Titans.
No doubt. By the way, on the 3 best for the Titans, I think that this brings to mind, a guy we haven't talked enough about probably, which is David Long Jr.
He's awesome.
Who was great yesterday. And in for Jayon Brown. Jayon Brown, as of Friday, I mean, it sounded like he was planning to play.
Yep.
He's had a hamstring, and by the way, that's what happens with hamstrings. I mean, you feel like they're fine, and then you exert, and you're like, nope, it just got tight again, and now you start it all over. So in the meantime, there's another example of depth really helping the Titans. Long, Borders. Obviously we've seen Sombrilo do a great job in Seattle with Lawan out that day. And, of course, at offensive skill, we're seeing backups all over the field. I think the biggest question this week, I guess other than, Julio Jones, is he hurt? Is he not? Is he going to play? Whatever. But I would say I don't even put A.J. Brown there because, honestly, I'm just in my mind counting him out for this game. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe he's going to be just fine as of tomorrow, and it was just a tiny little pull. But I don't see why you mess around with that. Hamstrings are so touchy, and there's no set timeline. You rest this long, you're going to be fine. They can always come back. I just feel like because of that, you just take a week, don't you? And just try to treat it and come back next week. That'd be my guess. But other than that, I'd go with Fulton. Christian Fulton is a huge deal. Last year, we weren't sure if he was any good. He was hurt a lot.
He's been
awesome. He was a rookie. He was a rookie. He was hurt a lot. Had no idea. Thought he was one of the most important guys on this year's defense. And so far he has been. He's been really good. And that's a big part of what they do. You can tell they're comfortable now. They're gonna be comfortable matching him up with a top guy in spots when they need to do that. So as well as Breon Borders played in a pinch, got to have Christian Fulton back.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question about that. And look, on the offensive line, I think you're starting to feel a little bit better about where they are with Lawan coming back in, and Nate Davis looks good. Ben Jones, I thought, played well yesterday. So I think the offensive line, you're starting to feel a little bit better. That was a huge concern a couple of weeks ago, and they're getting healthier. But you look around, defensively, you brought up Christian Fulton, Jayon Brown hurt as well. And now, what does your depth look like at outside linebacker? Because Ola Adaney, he's played well. Harold Landry, I thought, played really well yesterday. But Bud Dupree, with the knee flaring up and you not really being able to go yesterday, that's to me a concern as they move forward here. You need Bud Dupree to be active and to be available for this defense. And, you brought it up. I'm not concerned that, he's having ACL problems right now. I think the knee has been healed. He's been cleared from that aspect. But it is about, recovery and battling through soreness and building the strength back up at that knee. We had Bud Dupree on the show last week, and he talked about, he didn't really put a number on it, but you could tell he's not 100%. And he's going to have to get back to that point at some point this year for this Titans defense, I think, to maximize what they can be. I'm interested to see how they handle him, too. I mean, I would assume that, the route they've taken with him with practice, which has basically been very little practice for Bud Dupree the last couple of weeks, is going to have to be how it is for the short term here in his recovery. But if there's any question about the strength or anything to that regard, is it the same thing as A.J. Brown this week where you just say, you know what? Let's just give you another week off that knee and see what it looks like the following week. I think that could be the route the Titans go there too.
Yeah, I would think so. And at outside linebacker, Weaver out, Dupree, who knows?
Yep.
That's going to be probably a weekly question. And if what you said is correct, then that's fine. If it's some other, if there's another issue in the same knee,
yeah,
beyond just, you're coming back from a big rehab, from a huge injury, and there's a lot that goes into it. Well, if it's more than that, then that's obviously a huge problem. But Derek Roberson is a knee too.
Yep.
And he was limited last Wednesday, and then he wasn't able to go Thursday or Friday and was ruled out Friday. How far is he from getting back? How far is Anthony Ferkser with his knee from getting back out there? I still believe. I mean, you seeing Michael Pruitt make a play here and there. Jeff Swaim got a nice play yesterday, but still think this offense can be more effective with Firkser catching passes.
Well, and then what about some of the guys who have been on IR? How close are they to coming back? You know, Randy Bullock, he kicked. I thought he kicked well yesterday. How close is Sam Ficken to being available? Are we ever going to hear anything about Darrington Evans? How close is he to being able to come back? I mean, there's Firkser you brought up. Marcus Johnson, how close is he? I mean, there's quite the injury list developing for the Titans right now.
Yeah, I mean, in all seriousness, on Westbrook-Akina, who's been a good story and did a good job yesterday other than the fumble. I mean, if Marcus Johnson were healthy, I think Marcus Johnson would have gotten those snaps. That'd be my guess. Although, I guess some of that is run blocking. That does matter.
Yep.
Westbrook-Akina gets the job done there, but he's a guy who I really thought was going to be a playmaker for the Titans. And then Josh Reynolds is just, I don't know, man. He's not on the injury report all week. And then he's just a healthy scratch.
That's not good.
It's a bit it's a bit confusing. But when you have quote unquote Achilles stuff, I mean, to me, I have to think it's just the effect of that on what's the word? Your explosiveness. That's right. PK.
That's right. Let's go back to the text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Got a texter that says there's a possibility Weaver can come back this season. Fibula only provides 10% weight bearing, so if you broke one, that's the one you'd want to break. I will take your word for it. I am not a medical person.
On my text line, Dave from Knowlesville says, you guys are depressing me. Hey, your team is 2-1. Just beat the Colts and really handled the Colts and made mistakes to make that game closer than it should have been. And, I mean, most of these injuries could be just fine in a short period of time. It's the NFL. I mean, I'm looking at the last injury report from Friday. I mean, the Colts is even longer than the Titans, man. Yep. And they've got issues too. Quentin Nelson now goes out yesterday, and I mean, it's a long list. It's what the league is. I mean, a big part of who wins it every year is who avoids the serious one or the serious too many of them.
Heidi from Dixon texting in. Glad Joe was wrong again. Go Titans. Next man up, Super Bowl or bust while Henry is in his prime. I don't know what you're wrong about, but Heidi says you're wrong.
Why has it got to be about that, Heidi? Why has it got to be about me being wrong? Probably just I did pick the Colts to cover. Is that what she means?
Yeah, maybe so.
Yeah.
Wait, you did?
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I went 2-4 this week.
Oh, I forgot about that, Joe.
I was feeling good, too, when it was 14-13.
Got a text that says, no joke, I legitimately forgot that Evans is on the team. Constantly forget that he plays for us. I assume Darrington Evans, not Rashawn Evans.
Third-round pick. Third-round pick last year. The second-round pick starting to, make that draft class look a little bit better than totally disastrous.
By the way,
third-round pick might help.
Something we've not talked about today on the show that happened Friday.
Yes.
Isaiah Wilson getting a workout with the Colts. What was your reaction to that? That happened right before I went on air with Caroline on Friday for Stillman and Company. That was news I did not expect to see, my friend.
Yeah, so I haven't heard any outcome. Obviously, there was no signing.
No.
But I didn't expect to see that. And then, of course, he put on Instagram post and said everything's good and forgive everyone and thanks for supporting me, those who supported me and all that stuff. I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah.
So, hey, I hope he had a lot of stuff to figure out. So hopefully he's figured it out. Could that mean he would enter the NFL again someday? Get himself back into – I still think the physical potential's there. There's a reason he went in the first round. What if he goes somewhere and has figured his life out and all of a sudden becomes like just a mashing offensive tackle in the NFL?
How would the Titans feel? How would Titans fans feel if he ends up being signed by the Colts and then goes on to start for like 7 years?
Right. He's just paving huge lanes for Jonathan Taylor for years against you.
Just great stuff.
And then I'd start to believe in the curse, okay? Then I'd start to buy it.
Oh, well, we'll see what happens on that front. As you said, I've not heard anything, so I don't know if that means that the workout didn't go well, but I guess congrats to Isaiah Wilson for trying again.
Hey, it's better than the music career that was there's just no chance it's going to go well. It was based on what I've heard.
It was not good. Don't miss Nashville's best NFL pregame show live from the Corner Pub in Brentwood This Sunday, the NFL pregame show features Jared Stillman, Mark Howard, and former Titans wide receiver Chris Sanders. Join them from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m. live at the Corner Pub in Brentwood prior to the Titans taking on the New York Jets. The NFL pregame show is brought to you by TriStar Moving, Parman Tractor and Equipment, FreedomTireGuys.com, FanDuel, E2 Roofing, Hillside Medical, Social Furniture, and Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey. We'll come back. We'll continue to take your thoughts on the Titans and get into Taylor Lewan's game from yesterday, too, including some very interesting comments about the Titans fan base. All that next. This is Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Let's go, baby. Titans on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Touchdown! And it's the former Colt, Chester Rogers, on the score.
The Titans grind out a big win against the Colts.
We had a lot of contributions from guys. I'm proud of that.
And seize control of the AFC South.
I thought it was a good win, and now here they sit 2-1.
We're reacting all day on this Victory Monday on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
It's soccer season in Tennessee. You want goals?
He takes it inside, outside, right foot. Great finish! What a goal!
You want saves?
Lifted high, into the hands of Joe Willis. He makes the catch.
You want big drama?
Hooked in and headed in. Delirium! It's Yonder Cadiz!
Nashville SC are back at home Wednesday, September 29th versus Orlando City SC. The action kicks off at 7:30 p.m. Tickets on sale now at NashvilleSC.com.
How'd you like that?
It's not just about being in your community. It's about being your community. Come experience the all-new state-of-the-art Volunteer State Bank, second Murfreesboro location at 2019 Memorial Boulevard. Volunteer State Bank offers personalized services like banking for professionals, free Kasasa checking, the convenience of mobile banking, and the money you need when you need it. Visit one of our 13 locations or online at volstatebank.com. Real people, real solutions, right here. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
We blow the doors off of every long-held kept industry secret, every secret that other stores don't want you to know. At Genesis, we're excited to share with you.
Genesis Diamonds Vice President David Cooper talking about how Genesis reveals all of the long-held secrets of the jewelry industry.
We love being completely transparent. We teach you the things other stores do not want you to know. We make you a really dangerous customer for every other store in town.
So before you buy a diamond anywhere, come get the real scoop on diamonds at Genesis. You have nothing to lose.
Nothing gives us more pleasure than to teach every person that comes in, not just about diamonds, but how to buy diamonds like a professional.
Genesis Diamonds, teaching you to maximize value and get her the biggest, highest quality diamond at a no-nonsense price.
It's that light that goes off in my guests' eyes when they have that aha moment, when they not only see the difference at Genesis Diamonds, but they can feel it.
Genesis Diamonds, voted best jewelry store and best place to buy an engagement ring year after year. Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Parman Tractor and Equipment is your one-stop tractor and equipment solution and Middle Tennessee's Link Belt and Takeuchi dealer. No matter how you're getting there, start with Parman Tractor and Equipment. Rent or purchase a track loader, mini excavator, large excavators for your job site, or something in between. Their service and parts team will get your work site up and running in no time. Parman Tractor and Equipment will come to you for service if needed. Visit ParmanTractor.com for more info. Your Middle Tennessee Link Belt and Takeuchi dealer, providing totally outrageous customer service.
Hey, it's Chase McCabe of Darren Donick and Chase. Your favorite game, Silly Underdog Picks, it's back. Get your friends and sign up to play today. Pick 3 football underdog teams each week that you think will win outright for a chance to win weekly prizes. Then go to thegamenashville.com or the ESPN The Game Nashville mobile app and sign up and play. Then tune in every Thursday at noon on our show to hear former NFL players Chris Sanders and Kelly Holcomb plus Darren McFarland and yours truly make our picks. It's Silly Underdog Picks, presented by Volunteer Hose and Gasket.
ESPN's Turon Davenport breaks down the Titans like no other.
On the field chemistry, I don't think it's going to be a problem. It's just going to be a process.
Catch TD Mondays at 11, Thursdays at 3, and Fridays at 8. Plus, the Talking with TD podcast drops every Wednesday.
When you draft players, it's not just for one season, it's for a career.
Presented by FreedomTireGuys.com, Nashville's premier mobile tire company, and Craneworks and Rental Works, your source for crane and equipment rental. Visit Craneworks.com. Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, Nashville, this is Dan Lovitz. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5 The Game, brought to you by Volunteer State Bank. Visit ballstatebank.com to learn more about their free Kasasa checking account. Ball State Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. We are streaming live today and every day on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. Our video streaming brought to you by the law offices of Amanda Gentry. So we appreciate those watching on Twitter, on Twitch, and on YouTube as well. Seeing the beautiful faces that Joe Rexrode and Robby Stanley bring to the table every day. It's quite something to behold. Right now, talking Titans, taking your thoughts on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. Dave and Big Rock texting in. How do you guys think our secondary is going to deal with Corey Davis's elite downfield blocking next weekend? That is a great question. We'll have all week to discuss the Jets matchup, but I hope the Titans are game planning right now for Corey Davis's blocking that they're going to see on Sunday.
His blocking does seem more effective when he's blocking for, say, Derrick Henry than I don't even know the guys who are running the ball for the Jets right now. I don't.
Had a great day yesterday, though.
I honestly, I don't know who they are. So
I don't.
Corey Davis was the top offensive threat, though, for the Jets in the 23-0.
Let's say
26-0. 26-0 loss to the undefeated juggernaut Broncos.
Yes.
My gosh, Zach Wilson, another couple picks, no touchdowns. Nice 42.6 rating, so that's
going well.
Great. Yeah, so they're running backs. Michael Carter, 9 for 24. Ty Johnson, 3 for 17.
Sure.
No idea. But Corey Davis had 5 for 41. So really, Corey Davis is as much a focal point for the Titans defense as anyone on that on that sideline. So I'm sure Corey Davis is very motivated to get the Titans.
I'm sure he is.
Make some plays at the Titans' expense.
I'm sure he is. We'll see what happens on that front. I thought a good game yesterday for Taylor Lewan. He gets back in there, plays well. I mean, I still don't know that he's fully back up to speed yet, but a very nice response from Taylor Lewan from week 1 to week 3. Obviously, he did not play against the Seahawks, and talked yesterday after the game about hyperextending that knee, and they had to take a look at it, and everything is all good on that point, obviously, and he was able to play yesterday. But even more interesting were the comments that Taylor Lewan had after the game yesterday, talking about, of course, what we've talked about a lot here on this show, the reaction from Titans fans after he was booed in Game 1 against Arizona. A lot of reaction on our text line as well and on social media about Taylor Lewan over the last couple of weeks, and it probably has not been a very fun couple of weeks for Taylor Lewan, and he talked about that yesterday, especially kind of dialing home the points on the Titans fans booing him. Here's what Taylor Lewan had to say yesterday in his press conference after the win against Indianapolis.
I cruised back on the field, and our PA announcer, I think his name is Matt, just got the job. First game, right? Announces that I'm back in the game. And these fans go and start booing. Now, here's the deal. I don't know what that's all about. Like, I'm coming back from the ACL 10 months. Like, it's a difficult process. And, yeah, I wasn't playing well at all. That was a really hard game to get over emotionally, mentally. That light went out. Like, that's how that week went. That's a perfect metaphor for all of us. It was a really big deal. You guys are going to be able to use any of this on cable. But, like, it was... Man, I really wish I could have, articulate, how difficult that was. And, it was just hard to hear the fans after, 7-8 years of as much as I've tried to do for this city boo. When I came back out there, that was, I remember looking over at Ben, and he looked at me and smiled and shook his head, and I was like, damn, that's crazy how fast they just turned, and I'll never forget that. And, it was a difficult 24 hours, a difficult 36 hours, a difficult 48 hours. And, it was hard.
So that was Taylor Lewan after the game yesterday. And Joe, you hear those comments. Those are obviously pretty raw comments from Taylor Lewan, pretty emotional comments. And it's one thing to hear it. I said this earlier in the show. Like, if you go back and you watch the video, and I know you were there, like, he was borderline emotional about the fans booing him and talking about that. Obviously something that he has struggled with and that he's been dealing with and it's been on his mind the last couple of weeks. But I thought some pretty interesting comments there from Taylor Lewan.
And right after all that, I changed the subject and asked him, I said, about the Colts and how the Colts have had a lot of success over the years. And he's like, that's very astute of you. All right, thanks, Taylor.
Thank you,
Taylor.
Taylor.
That, buddy. But most of the press conference was that topic, which I was a little surprised We're talking about post-game of a big win over division rival. There are a lot of other things that all of us, I'd say media and fans are probably more interested in, but clearly Taylor Lewan's still very bothered by the booing from week 1. So, and I think, as we talked about earlier on the show, I think some of those comments were probably being saved for the first time that he played well in a game and could kind of move forward.
Yep.
So he got it off his chest. I think some of the reaction to it been a little bit overboard. I did think it was a little bit misplaced. And I just, whenever we get to pro athletes talking about fans booing them, there's got to be some understanding here of how the whole thing works. You are rich because all these people, most of whom aren't rich, care about the product and watch it and go and pay money, and in some cases scrounge the money to be able to go to these games that certainly are not inexpensive. I mean, professional and major college sports games now are really designed for people at a higher income level than they were 10, 20, 30 years ago. Regular people have a hard time going to these things. So you think about all the hype for this team, the awfulness of that performance in the first week, and then just the weirdness of him being announced coming back in the game.
Yep.
Which he brought up. I mean, I think he gets that too. He's like, yeah, the new PA guy, I think his name's Matt, announced me.
This is his first game.
So he kind of called that out too yesterday. But you put all those things together, and he was booed pretty heavily. I don't know what percentage of the stadium booed him. To me, it's like, in the moment it was emotion. I think a lot of Titans fans love Taylor Lewan, and if he was at some event right now, would Titans fans cheer him? If he was announced on the stadium right now for something, would he get cheered? I think so.
Probably.
It's a game of emotion, including for the fans. So I just think he made maybe a bigger deal out of it than it should have been. But look, it was obviously emotional for him. It obviously affected him. So he got it off his chest.
Yeah, look, I don't really have much of a problem, and I know some people, that's not the time and the place to be talking about stuff like this. Whatever. I don't have much of a problem with that. As you said earlier in the show, the more athletes that we can get that are honest about comments to the media and the fans after the game rather than just mindlessly scrolling through another press conference, I'm cool with. So Taylor Lewan, from that standpoint, is cool in my book. But, I mean, this was something that obviously has bothered him. I think the encouraging thing, if you're Taylor Lewan and if you're a Titans fan, is the performance was light years better in Week 3 than it was in Week 1. Now, I realize that's a very low bar and that Taylor Lewan is going to have to continue to get better. But this idea that Taylor Lewan all of a sudden just can't play football anymore, I think is going to start to be squashed. If he continues to stay healthy and continue to hang around in there, I think he's going to be fine at left tackle.
I mean, people last week, again, the great news that he was on the field and was healthy, like, I didn't count it up, but, man, it was way too many people saying, why is that good news?
Right.
Or, I don't want him out there. Look at what Sombrilo did against Seattle. No. I hope you realize after watching the last game, look, I don't know if Taylor Lewan this year is going to be playing at a Pro Bowl level by the time it's over, but he's your best option. He's your best offensive lineman. He's paid a lot. He's going to be on the team this year, and it's a huge deal for him to be healthy and play well. So it was a big step in the right direction.
Well, and his personality, as Corey Curtis from News 2 pointed out earlier in the show, some people love it, some people hate it. And there's going to be things where he can do things for some people and he does no wrong, and other things, the slightest misstep, and they're going to jump all over it. And to that point, let's go to our text line.
And that's
driven
probably
by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
And that's probably a lot of the people who were booing, honestly.
Yeah. Justin from Nashville texting in, 7 to 8 years of putting up with his unnecessary BS. Cry me a river, fake tough guy. That's coming from Justin in Nashville.
Yeah, there are people who feel that. And so, look, if you don't like his personality, you don't like his personality. It's fine. So Friday after practice, the players were coming in. I don't even remember what he was talking about, but he was just really loud. He just yelled all this stuff and, like, making jokes and stuff. And it was one of those things where it was like we, even as we were watching the press conference, it was like, see, some of the guys in this team are laughing at that stuff, and some of them are just like, okay, Taylor, all right. So some people love his stuff and the podcast and everything, and some people get annoyed by it. but I think everyone should be able to look at him and watch him play and agree that he's good.
Yeah. We'll continue the discussion on the Titans when we come back. Get to more of your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. We've also got some tickets to give away coming up next as well. This is Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5 The Game.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. Lots of sunshine out there, and that will not change for the rest of the day. High temperatures this afternoon, heading up to 84 degrees. Going to be a little more humid, though, midweek.
In the concert event of a lifetime, come experience the dynamic energy of one of the most accomplished musicians of our time, Carlos Santana. Blessings and Miracles Tour 2021. This Wednesday, First Bank Amphitheater. Take a trip through the hits from Woodstock to Supernatural and a backwards flip into the unknown. Tickets on sale now at LiveNation.com.
Hey, it's Jared Stillman. Guys, are you tired of feeling old? You know that feeling. You don't have any energy. You're gaining pounds. Well, guess what? My friends at Invigorate Health are the ones to help you. They don't just focus on one area of the aging body. They take care of all of it with so many different therapies that can restore your vitality and are designed with you specifically in mind. So give them a try. Invigorate Health, if you want to feel young again. Out in Mount Juliet at 615-288-4777 or InvigorateHealthTN.com.
Hey, it's Jared from my official sportsbook app, the FanDuel Sportsbook app. The biggest game of Week 3 is Monday night between Philadelphia and Dallas, and FanDuel Sportsbook is about to make it even bigger because FanDuel is giving new customers 30-1 odds on either team to win. That means you can end the NFL week right by winning $150 on a $5 bet. You know me, I picked Philly to win the division before the year, so I'm going to take Philly over Dallas. FanDuel is sports betting made simple, and they're always hooking you up with great offers. See for yourself why they're America's #1 sportsbook app. Just sign up with the promo code JGM this week before Dallas takes on Philadelphia. You can win $150 on a $5 bet. Remember to use promo code JGM so they know that I sent you exclusively on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. 21 and older and present Tennessee. New users only. $10 first deposit required. Must wager in designated offer market. Max bonus $150 bonus for Tennessee users fulfilled in site credit within 72 hours. Tennessee site credit expires 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line 1-800-889-9789.
312 Pizza Company is Nashville's authentic Chicago pizzeria, and they're now hiring. Work for a family-owned business and be a part of their incredible team. 312 Pizza Company is hiring for all positions, including host, waitstaff, bartenders, cooks, and more. 312 Pizza Company offers health insurance and paid time off to full-time employees. Contact Kimberly at 615-730-7888 or email at contact@312pizzaco.com. 312 is an equal opportunity employer.
Jared Stillman.
This show, if you're a listener to it, I think is educated enough to know what a good general manager is.
And Company.
At the end of the day, wins really are all that matters.
Tune in Stillman and Company for your drive home. Delivered by TriStar Moving. Weekday afternoons from 2 to 6 on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
You're listening to Robby and Rexrode on ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Welcome back in, final segment of the day here on Robby and Rexrode, ESPN 102.5 The Game, brought to you by Volunteer State Bank. Real people, real solutions right here. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Talking Titans, taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. Let's go to our 102.5 The Game phone line and welcome in Jeff from Ashland City who wants to weigh in on Taylor Lewan. Jeff, thanks for calling in.
Hey, good morning, guys. I figured somebody needed to call in and at least stick up for the man because when is the last time we talked about Taylor besides this year? The man had one bad game.
Yep.
Okay. And did anybody boo? I can't remember his name. Our wide receiver dropped 4 balls last week.
Oh, A.J. Brown.
A.J., okay. We're not booing him. He had a bad game. Get over it. The man's protected our quarterback for how many years, and he has a bad game, and everybody wants to turn against him. He's probably one of the best linemen that in the NFL. So I just figured somebody had to call in and stick up for the poor man.
Well, thanks, Jeff. We appreciate it. Jeff calling into the phone line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. Before we respond to Jeff and go any further, I do have some tickets to give away to see MTSU take on Marshall coming up on Saturday. Be caller number 3, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. Caller number 3 will win a pair of tickets to see MTSU take on Marshall at Floyd Stadium coming up this Saturday. You can catch all the action on ESPN 94.9. Coverage begins at 5 p.m. and kickoff is at 6. So make sure that you get your tickets. Caller number 3.
Watch MTSU almost win at Charlotte.
Yeah.
Will Healy's team.
It's a good game.
Cunningham played really well at quarterback. Lost a tough one, but it was a fun game to watch. Lots of text line on Luan. Andrew, we booed the hell out of Taylor for playing bad, but we love him and are stoked for him to play great again. So you booed him, but you love him.
It's a loving boo.
Greg A says, the same people booing Taylor Wan are the same people that will cheer and scream as he shotguns a beer on Fang Vision at the Preds game. Ron says comedians get booed and heckled as part of the business. Not everybody's going to like you or cheer for you, but you have to have thick skin in this game for opponents and fans. Jeez. Yeah, see, the thing is, again, it was just one of those. It was like a perfect storm of things, including just an awful overall performance by him and the team.
Well, and let's be honest here. It keeps going back to the point where had he not been announced as returning back into the game, he would have never been booed, ever.
Everybody welcome back in your favorite and everyone's favorite Taylor Lewan. It's like, everyone please boo this man. I've actually never seen that before. Like, think about how many times players get injured, you know what I mean? Or leave a game or whatever. They're out of the lineup. And you just come back and you just randomly, whatever position, you're just like, back on the field, Nick Westbrook-Akina, back in the slot for the Titans. Like, huh? So, yes, quite a combination of factors.
I'm cool with it. I think that needs to be something that happens every time. And now back in again after a quick breather, number 22, Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
He's back in there, buddy.
Randy Bullock is your kicker still.
Speaking of, what did the Titans do there? Randy Bullock, perfect yesterday. If Sam Ficken is healthy in the not-too-distant future, what do the Titans do? They stick with Randy Bullock? They give Sam Ficken a look?
I don't know. I mean, Randy Bullock hit a game winner, and he's only missed one kick so far. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Ficken was kicking really well. He was freaking kicking really well. So, yeah, that's something to watch. Ben, by the way, on the text line says, glad he has something to motivate him again. He better have a short leash with everything he's put us through. I wouldn't re-sign him unless he earns it. I wouldn't be worried about the next contract with Luan. The question is,
can he finish this one?
Yeah, the finishing of this deal, which is often a thing in the NFL with large deals.
Let's go back to the text line. Carrie from Nashville texting in, when is someone going to teach this kid how to pass block? He can't. Go back and watch him on pass plays, and he continuously gets beat. Third down yesterday, late game red zone. I'm specifically watching him, and he ends up sitting on his butt on a pass play. He can run block, but when it's a pass play, a quarterback needs to watch his blind side.
Yeah, now you got a $80 million contract because someone needs to teach him how to pass block. Again, Taylor Lewan coming off an ACL. He has not been vintage Taylor Lewan. I don't know if he'll get back to that. He was way better yesterday than in week one. I mean, it'd be hard to be close to that bad. But the guy knows how to pass block. The guy has been an outstanding left tackle in the NFL, protecting various quarterbacks' blind sides for several years now.
Tannehill got hit twice yesterday in the pocket.
And one of them was
unblocked.
The unblocked blitzer right between Nate Davis and Quessenberry, just unblocked. Untouched, smacked him. I don't remember the other quarterback hit. I'm not saying Taylor Lewan was perfect in his pass blocking reps yesterday, but for the most part, he handled his side. And for the most part, Ryan Tannehill had time to throw.
Your concern level right now, if you're a Colts fan, you're 0-3. The Titans improved to 2-1 yesterday. You got the Dolphins coming up, albeit the Dolphins probably without Tua, with Jacoby Brissett being the guy at quarterback, so not at full strength for Miami. How concerned are you right now if you're the Colts in this 0-3 hole that they've dug for themselves?
Well, you're desperate. You have to win this week. You win this week and you feel way better, but you have to win this week, and you have a banged-up quarterback still. And it's Jacoby Brissett revenge game. What if Jacoby Brissett and Corey Davis both get revenge on their former AFC South employers? I think Jacoby's got a better chance than Corey, but we'll see. But, yeah, I mean, I still think the Colts, I like their chances. I don't know if I like them, but I think their chances are still about even to get in the playoffs, even at 0-3 right now. But you can't get to 0-4. So must win. We're in September. The game will be in October. But must win right now, yeah. Can't go 0-4.
Dennis texting in, quote, everything he's put us through, this kid needs to learn to pass block, end quote. People are crazy. Laughing emoji.
I mean, it's a but look, some people just don't like him, and so fine. Those people, probably a good percentage of the people who booed him. Some people just have, I don't even know what they've been watching. I don't know what they've been watching.
If you don't like Taylor Lewan's personality, whatever. That's
sure.
Fine. I mean, look, there are things that Taylor Lewan does where I look at and I roll my eyes and I say, all right.
I've seen him do things in a locker room that a 13-year-old boy would be like, ooh, that's really immature.
Yeah.
So I understand that. But watch him play. I don't know what people are looking at there.
Eric in Bellevue texting in, you stick with Randy Bullock. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Maybe Randy Bullock secured himself a spot here with the Titans. I mean, we're talking about 2 games, which is a long time for a Titans kicker. And he's looked pretty good. What he missed, the one he missed was 46, right? 46-yarder?
Yeah, I think that's right. Pushed it right. And he pushed the game winner right, but it got through.
Yep.
I would say this. I get the ain't broke, don't fix it. Or, ain't broke, right. Don't fix it. I got it. I'd still, I would want to see him out there on the field and do, the training camp thing with Ficken. Because Ficken was
kicking.
He was. I think that he was better than what we've seen of Bullock, although it's different because it's game pressure, of course. I'm not sold that Randy Bullock just keeps this job when Ficken's ready to go.
Lance texting in, the Titans on pace for 39 to 40 sacks. Only had 19 in 2020. Lance bringing it in there today.
It's incredibly difficult to be that low.
About to double it up.
Yeah, but the pressure.
Assuming they have players that can still play outside linebacker when the next week begins.
That would help. But 10 quarterback hits, 5 from Landry, 3 from Adaney. That's good. I mean, it's a quarterback who couldn't move, so you got to keep that in mind. But still, they got pressure on a pretty good offensive line. So there's promising things on that side of the ball.
Should be able to get after Zach Wilson on Sunday, would be my guess.
I mean,
there's not many things the Jets do well.
Boy, is he struggling.
Blocking's not one of them either.
Yeah, blocking, running, passing, catching,
kicking,
tackling, winning.
Very bad stuff from the Jets. We'll have a lot of time this week to break that down. That's going to do it for us today here on Robby and Rexrode. Make sure you stay tuned for Darren Donica Chase coming up next. This is ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Take us wherever you may go.
There is going to be a whole lot of work going on.
Shoot us in any